Welcome back to another episode of Talking Tarkov. I'm the EarLegAthlete here with,
Hey Dizzle.
and today we're going over the massive amount of new information given to us from BSG's most recent Tarkov TV. So let's bring in the new year with some new upcoming content. But before we get started, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get right to it. So we had Tarkov TV. I always want to call him Talking Tarkov, and just before we clicked
Yeah,
recording, I know you did the same thing, dude. They're both like TT, so it kind of just rolls off naturally.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, BSG did their Tarkov TV recently, and it was, I mean, packed full of upcoming content. Some, talk about some potential changes and fixes and this, that, and the other. But the main focus was on, a lot of the things that they teased, like the transparent magazines, the icebreaker ship, end of line map, whatever that may turn out to be, some new gear, stuff like that. And then they spoke on a bunch of stuff as well. We'll just kind of go down through the list that I have here and talk about each thing individually. So performance and core tech. Nikita is calling it Tarkov 2.0. Do we have any idea of what that entails at all, or like what the idea behind Tarkov 2.0 is?
Yeah, he went into it. He basically said that Tarkov 2.0 is not, a sequel. It's the same game. It's a continuation of the existing Tarkov. But he said the reason he's calling it 2.0 is because it's going to be uh, slowly refreshing it to compete with newer titles.
He
Because he even
specifically
started
said
joking.
modernization, right? Like we are bringing it
Yeah, yeah.
modern to current.
Well, he even started saying he said all the new best games he said that you guys all play. He said you guys talk about all the new extraction shooters. You can just press a button and get into them. And he said, and supposedly those are all the best games. He's like, so we got to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically he's just making everything work better, faster, just more efficient, and that's Tarkov 2.0.
Well, and
Also
jokes
with a graphics
aside,
refresh too.
yeah, the graphics refresh from the way they talk sounds like it could be a pretty decent overhaul to what we're used to seeing. But all
Well,
jokes
he
aside,
did.
go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say on the graphics real quick, he did specify that it's not something that we're gonna see all at once. It's not gonna be like
Yeah, it's a
a big
rollout over.
overhaul. Yeah, he said every big update or every update they're gonna add little pieces of the graphical overhaul. So
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was getting ready to say. It was jokes aside, and everything. They are working on a code that they put together 10 years ago for a game that is nothing like what they built it to be. So I'm sure going through, and which we've talked about this before too, going through and rewriting some code or even just deleting old chunks of stuff for the new iteration to be not only coded to the modern engine parameters, but just modernizing the game in general because a lot of the stuff is outdated. Um,
yeah, they weren't planning on doing this. He
no,
straight
I
up
don't think so.
said that they were pretty much going to do 1.0 and then, continue with the DLCs that they had promised and things like that. But as far as like modernizing Tarkov itself, they were probably going to do a second game. But he said once he's seen the amount of support and the amount of like new players and everything after 1.0, he said it just made him realize like
They
we
got
had
something
almost
here.
3 million players on launch day. Like,
Yeah,
that's nuts.
that can't be ignored
And
either. That is huge. That is an
no,
absurd amount of
yeah,
players. I'm sure that's on the
yeah.
list,
So
but
he said that's basically what made them, decide, okay, we got one of the best games in the world. Let's make it a better game. Like,
yeah,
instead of just moving on, just let's keep improving.
right.
So I just thought that
Well,
was cool. Like, one thing changed like probably the, future of Tarkov, and I'm glad it did.
I am too. I am too. I still want to see, Russia 2028, this whole uh single player experience of just like beyond the realm of like the borders of Tarkov, whether that's Russia 2028 or some other title, I don't care, but I would like to see it, but
He kind of talked about that too.
I don't wanna see Tarkov left to the wayside. I don't wanna see Tarkov ignored because they do have something very, very special here, and I think it is the right choice to focus on making this something that everybody wants. And that's the other thing too, like we saw with 1.0, we can be playing on older versions of the game while they're fixing all these things in the foreground and doing all these changes and getting Tarkov quote unquote 2.0 ready, at least
Right.
for the baseline. And with that they can have it pretty much a whole new set of code on the new engine, or not new engine, but updated engine, and just, potentially even performance-wise run substantially better, compared to what we were working with. So it is good to see that we may have, something a little bit different than what we're used to overall, performance, graphically, it's just cool to see, and I'm glad to hear it, that they are recognizing what Tarkov is and how well it's doing in the world, right? Like how big of a success
Right.
it is, and they're not just abandoning it to start that next title. I think they're doing
Yeah.
what more studios and game developers should do, and that's when you have something good, don't try to milk it and continue off the success of that, but by releasing new game after new game after new game, trying to ride this hype, but instead, give that child that attention and grow it into something special. Um, so
Well,
I think it's good. I think it's great.
yeah, and speaking of like the Russia 2028 and other games, I think what they're doing, he didn't come out and straight up say this, but from what I got from what he said was they're kind of just going to implement everything into Tarkov.
Sick.
So I think we're going to see Russia 2028 in Tarkov as single player missions because he talked
Well,
about that there's going to be like a new single player storyline, like events that are like single player only. And I think that could be like Russia 2028 stuff. It's like
yeah,
now instead of focusing on a second game, they can just add those into Tarkov. And I kind of think that's what they're doing.
yeah. I mean, you can have expansions for games like World of Warcraft would do, where they add entire storylines, new continents, new everything, right? Um, you could do that in a game like Tarkov, to where you're adding all kinds of extra stuff. You could essentially build a game inside of the game, right? Especially if they modernize the code and keep everything
Yeah.
much cleaner and running better. It gives them a lot more wiggle room to mess with stuff. I would like to see that. I would. I think that would be the way to go about it. And then you have
Well,
your player
he
base
did
is
straight
on the
up.
game already. You don't have to worry about trying to rebuild a title, right?
Right. The only downside is you're not selling a new game, so you're not making new sales. But
Correct.
you know, I'm sure that they'll find ways to monetize it.
Well,
Selling
and
skins,
to
battle
touch on
passes,
that,
that's coming
exactly,
too.
yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
gonna say, to touch
yeah,
on that, they said they were gonna introduce, battle passes to base game, and then we also know that there is plans of bringing all those weapon skins and camos that we get on Arena to be able to get those over, so that would incentivize players to buy Arena, buy the battle
right.
passes, buy the tactical maps, whatever. um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't think monetization is gonna be an issue anymore. I think Tarkov's in such a good place now, and I think Battlestate has a pretty good, grasp of what to do, at least when it comes to monetizing, because, like, everything they've done so far, I've been cool with. Like, I think they've done pretty
Yeah.
well with it. Maybe not new additions of the game and stuff, like Unheard, because, people lost their mind over that, but the
Right.
community, surprisingly enough, which, again, I will give all of you, even the Twitter side, props on this. The arena stuff, the battle pass, the cosmetics, all these things that are, paid, we don't see a lot of complaining about it. I am genuinely just surprised that, people aren't just constantly reaming them for trying to make money. A few months back, even, not that long ago, sure, we were seeing it. But the more they do it and the more the player base gets in the flow of like Tarkov having these mechanics, and these purchasable things, they seem to be just falling in line with it. And I think that's really, really good too.
Well, and you even see content creators like trying to make controversial videos about, "Oh, BSG did this." Even they are getting pushed back on those videos now when they make them. So it's like stuff that used to get clicks and the whole community will be behind them and stuff. Now they're just getting people in their comments being like, "It's no big deal, dude. Like, you didn't need to make a video about this."
Right.
So I'm just seeing that more and more. So I think you're right. I think it's
Well,
definitely moving towards everybody being okay with the current system.
yeah. I mean, we've seen creators complain, like you just said, about the monetization side of things. We've seen them complain about, the player base side of things. We've seen them complain about anything and everything Tarkov related in these last few weeks, and it's been a completely different turnaround. And I think that Talking Tarkov is like 100% the reason behind that. You know, us spreading the light that we do and just making people trust and believe. You know, it's a good thing. No, I'm joking.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
It's
think
all
the
us.
Steam. Yeah, it is. Like all credit to us. Ignore anybody that says it's them because it's us. No, but I honestly, this might sound a little weird. I think the Steam community coming in, and seeing the game from fresh eyes kind of helps too, in a way, because you have a lot of people who are actually in the game now, playing the game and seeing it and checking it out, and like, oh, this is great. Like, what are you bitching about? You know, and I think a lot of the community is kind of just over the bitching and moaning and like dick riding whatever creator says this or that. You know, it just seems, I don't know. It seems a little more
It's
healthy. It's not great. You know,
yeah,
there's still
it's
some negative going around. There's still a lot of negative. Like during the
a
Tarkov
lot of
TV, it
negatives
was
still there.
constant negative. But
Yeah,
it's nice to see even a small margin of that just turning around and kind of getting back on board with the Tarkov train.
yeah, yeah,
Because like you did say, we have seen a lot of people comment, you know, on these videos and stuff, because we try to stay tapped into the game and the community. We don't wanna just be, you know what's going on in Tarkov and not have any idea what the player base is up to, but so we do get around, we do watch a lot of videos, watch a lot of streams. Adam watches a lot of streams. I don't watch streams, well, not a lot, but Adam watches some streams, so he's, you know, kinda hip on that stuff, and we watch a lot of
yeah,
content and just try to stay tapped into everything going on. Um, we do see a lot of these things taking place, and it is nice to see, because for a long time you would just hear so and so say this negative take, and their entire community would just be like, "Yeah, fuck them." And now you can actually see a little bit of that turnaround. So, you know, it's small, but I think things like Tarkov.Community, BSG being more transparent with the players and just being more honest, or not more honest, but more upfront about what's happening, what's going on. You know, well, like you said, there
yeah.
is
That's a
still a
big
lot of
one.
negativity, but you know, I think those things come together to just help the community see that it's more than what they always assumed it was. Because you know, a lot of people were like, "Oh, they're just here to rake us for money and sell accounts to cheaters and sell the cheats themselves and like all this crazy shit," right? Like we've all heard the stories. And I think just that transparency of BSG being out in the public more and being more focused on the game and the community and just, you know, just being there, being more transparent, honestly, is about it. I think that's pretty big. And Tarkov.Community being able to like voice your opinions and actually see developers be like, yeah, this is getting fixed. This is getting done. This is this. Those kind of things, they sound small and they sound inconsequential, but they do help sway, you know, the average person's view on things, especially when you start seeing things in a positive light instead of only a negative light.
Yeah, in the last year, the quality of life and the communication has went up 150%. Like, it's so much better than it used to be.
Oh,
Um,
substantially.
used
Yeah.
to used to be we didn't know when we was gonna get a patch, we didn't know what was gonna be in the patch. You were lucky to find out after, a week or 2, you would have to wait for someone to data mine whatever they changed.
Yeah.
Like, all that's gone now. All that's completely like you don't even think that now. If they do something, you think, okay, Nikita's going to tweet about it, or someone's going to let us know what's going on, and it's a great change. And I think that's something that I've gotten so used to now. I kind of forgot how bad it used to be, but
Yeah. I
when
mean,
you
just
said
6 months
that, it's
ago,
like
you and
I
I
thought
were.
back. Yeah, yeah, and it was bad, like
Yeah. I remember when they started posting regularly and we started being able to have like Nikki leaks every week and, you know, updates. And
yeah.
that's what kind of spawned Talking Tarkov. You know, it started as us just kind of ranting and raving that first episode. And then it turned into, well, let's get the news out there. You know, let's see what's going on. Um, and our opinions and things on that too, you know, and we yap about other stuff, sure. But starting to see BSG go from being completely quiet for years after year, year after year after year, to like this constant rollout of information. Not just, oh, patch this, this is getting patched, but like here's these Nikki leaks, here's, you know, here's some teases for upcoming gear, here's some teases for upcoming gun, here's this map tease, here's this, you know. Those things help. They really do, because when the community is in the dark, they're gonna run with whatever narrative is being spread. Whether BSG says, "Hey,
Yeah.
whoa, that's not true," you know, they just
Well,
don't
and
listen to it, right?
negativity takes
Because
over also, because that's
that's also
what
true.
sells, like,
For
that's
sure.
just what everybody's upset because they don't really know what's going on, and it's like, "Well, I'm mad at BSG, so whatever you said about 'em's probably true, they probably did do that," and then it just, snowballs into
Spirals.
whatever people come up
Yeah,
with, yeah.
yeah. So
So, it just the amount of community, just interaction and communication right now has definitely helped, kinda rehabilitate the image a little bit at least. And I think it's just gonna
Absolutely.
continue to get better and better.
Well, and the last thing I want to touch on about, just public opinion and community and stuff is during Tarkov TV, there was a lot of just dumb hate and ignorance and just people being either trolls or dumbasses, one of the two, right? But I noticed something that I've never seen in Tarkov TV history, I think. Every now and then you'll get somebody be like, dude, you guys are killing it. Great job. I'm one of those guys. I hope that, well, like when I see them start reading comments, I'm always like, you guys are doing great. Like I try to
Yep,
just like,
same.
hopefully they see the encouragement. But I saw so many people
Yep,
constantly say,
me
dude, you
too.
guys are killing it. You guys are doing great. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Like it was so much just praise to them.
Yeah, I
And
saw
you don't,
so many people say, "Who cares? Like, I care what
yeah,
you do,
yeah,
BSC, or I care about you guys. Like, you guys are great. Don't worry about what the
yeah,
haters say." Like, I've seen so many more messages than I normally see, and it's like you said, I would type the message and then I would read a few, and I'd be like, "Wow, okay, I'm not the only one putting it in chat this time."
yeah,
Like, there's
yeah, yeah.
actually other people.
People are feeling the game. People are feeling VSG. People appreciate what they do, and it's they deserve to see it. And I'll be honest that we love games interview Nikita just did where he was like, like sure he
Yeah,
put it out there. He understands like a lot of it's trolling, a lot of it's just blind hate. But some of that stuff is like criticism too and like legitimate things. But he also said like it's stressful, it weighs on you.
yeah.
He puts himself out there as the face of Tarkov, right? Even though he knows it's the studio, but like he's more than willing to take on the brunt of all this, hate and information and all this stuff. And it's like, these guys work their asses off. And for them to read 99.9% of the comments and information that they get from the community as just hate, like what would you do if you were a developer for Tarkov and for the last 10 years all you saw was people hate you? You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. Um
Well, even the Tarkov TV, like he went over that stuff again and just pointed out. He's like, he said it's hard when somebody loves you and then turns around and hates you the very next day. He's like,
it's
so
also true.
you can tell that like people that support him a lot, like certain streamers I talk about a lot that really make me upset because they're cool one day and then they're saying the worst things the next day. You can tell that stuff gets to him, but I'm glad to see that he's kind of internalized it and justified it because he realizes that people are just gonna do
They're
that. They'll have a
venting, they're
bad day
blowing
in
off steam,
Tarkov.
right.
Yeah, yeah, they'll have a bad day in Tarkov, or they'll, get killed. He said, or they'll have something that actually did, is bad. They'll have a cheater and, or they'll have an error on the game and they'll lose like a whole kit. He's like, so I gotta expect, when the game has things like that happen, I gotta expect that even the people who love it to hate it every now and then. And I feel like, that does have some truth to it. And I think more or less most people
Well,
they
and there's
love the game, that's
merit.
why they play it. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's
exactly, and
like
there's merit in those criticisms too. It's just the blind
I
hate
think
and the
he's
nonsense and the ignorance and people just, like, spewing trash to spew trash to just try to burn the game, you know what I mean?
right, and I think he's coming to the conclusion that I got this many players, so who cares if a few of them get mad every now and then? Like, there's a reason this many people are playing the game.
Right, yeah, you have something that has taken over the gaming space worldwide. You've got something that has a huge amount of players on it. Wipe to wipe to wipe, I could open my dog tags case and easily find one, if not more, duplicate dog tags. Like, oh, I've killed this guy several times. Run an interchange for a day doing shooter born, or for 5 days run an interchange or whatever. You're bound to run into the same person multiple times. I don't think I have a duplicate dog tag outside of like middles and those few people that I run raids with. Yours,
Right,
maybe I
people
got a
you run with.
couple. Yeah,
Yeah,
outside of that, like I don't think any of mine are duplicate, which is rare because we've always had
well,
a relatively small player base since we are server side. Like, well, we're on NA East, so we're typically only getting matched with NA East. Maybe some NA
right.
West or Central or whatever. But like we know, we're not seeing all the player base. We're only seeing what's in our controlled area. So
Yeah,
even
because there
with
was only
that,
about 200,000 players, worldwide up before, 1.0. There was about
yeah,
200,000 concurrent, and, after 1.0, on the day of 1.0, on launch day, he said there was 2.8 million accounts logged in.
2.8 million accounts logged into Tarkov day one.
Yep,
That's insane.
yep.
That is insane. And we
Yeah,
were on playing
considering
the game day one. Most amount of
yeah,
players ever on the game, and we were playing day one. Were
well,
there
and there
issues?
were
Were there
problems, and
problems?
that's what
Yes,
they said.
absolutely.
He said they basically DDoS themselves. He said because they
They
did
did.
not expect in a million
Yeah.
years to have that many people playing. He said they set the servers up for I think he said 500,000 capacity because he said at the end of hardcore wipe or softcore. At the end of softcore, there was like 180 to 200,000 players. So they thought when
Safe to
1.0 hits,
assume
it'll probably
double, maybe a little
double,
more.
maybe get a
Yeah,
little more.
yeah.
Yeah, they
Safe
did not
assumption.
expect 2.8 mil.
Yeah,
So
that is insane. 20 times or 10
yeah,
times or whatever the fuck, I'm not doing the math. 200
yeah,
times, I don't know. It's
but yeah,
insane,
that's
and it
crazy.
obviously shows. I think that helps reinstate what they do as well, right?
Well,
Uh,
that's what he said. That's what rejuvenated them right there. That's what made
yeah,
them
yeah.
completely change their plans for 2026. And he said basically after 1.0 is when this thing he went over on Tarkov TV, this whole list of plans, that's when they got written was after 1.0 because it just changed everything. It made them just go back to the drawing board and realize like, hey, we gotta, seize the moment while we can. Let's
Well,
not
who
let
gives
this
a
game
shit?
die. Let's keep it going. Let's fix
Yeah.
everything and
Who gives a shit if
let's
20,000 people
do
hate
it.
your guts for everything you do? You got
Right.
2.8 million people that are loving what you've put out, that are playing what you put out, willing to support what you're doing. Yeah, dude, that would wake anybody up, right?
Yeah.
And
So, and I'm sure it's dropped off by, a
a
mil or so,
substantial
but
amount,
even
yeah.
that is insane amount of players.
To
Like,
go from having 200K on regularly to having, even if it doubled, tripled to, 750 to a mil, like you just said, like, yeah, dude, that's so good. That's amazing.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. That's top 5 games in the world, like easy. Um,
And as a Sherpa, I can confirm right now, I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to divulge this information. We have tickets out the ass, not to mention
oh, I
looking for
bet you do.
help and offering help and just people trying to find sessions. Not
Well, that's the
making
other thing
tickets,
he
but
said.
like, dude, there are so many people looking for help right now. New players, returning players. It's
Yeah,
absurd.
he said
It's
there
hard
are
to keep
so
up
many
with.
new players. A million plus new players, he said.
And a lot of these guys that I've talked to, whether it's in arena, checking out the new maps, whether it's, which we'll go into that in a second, whether it's, just catching random people and VoIPing with them, or whether through Sherpa sessions, talking with the Sherpas, talking with, regular members who are looking for help and stuff like that. Overall, from my, small amount of people I've been able to chat with, the game is great. Everybody loves it. Like, sure, it's brutal, it's rough, but like, they are genuinely enjoying what's going on here, and I think that is, the overwhelmingly, I think that's the opinion right now is that Tarkov's awesome, it's something
Yeah.
special.
Well, that's the other
Well,
thing he went over. He's like, that is the experience. He's like, he said, it's not meant to like, make you sad. He's like, but it's going to beat you down. He said, but at the same time, he said, it does it to all of us. He said, we hate
yeah,
the game sometimes. He's like, everybody, Demirka got fed up in the middle of the stream and like quit a arena match
quit
because he
playing
was
arena,
getting like
yeah, he's
destroyed.
just like, "Fuck
Yeah,
this,"
like,
and that's
like it
internal. That was
happens.
just his homies. That's
Yeah.
the boys in the fucking
Yeah.
BSG crew kicking his ass, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That was
You get
custom
angry.
servers. Yeah. That
Yeah.
wasn't even public servers.
Yeah, that's just getting mad at the game because you know you're better and getting shit on, or you just can't understand why you're getting shit on. Like, there's a million reasons why, but that's just what Tarkov does. But at the same time, it's that willingness to continue is what teaches you Tarkov. We spend a lot of time saying like, "Oh, every time you die, you learn something." No, every time you log in, you learn something. Every time you log in, you're just putting a little bit more percentage towards like how much you enjoy this game because eventually, like we've said several times in the past, that flip that switch will flip and you'll just start to understand Tarkov and you'll start to appreciate the systems. Go from, miserable to enjoying your time whether you're living or dying. So that's pretty cool.
Well, and
Um
Tarkov is one of the most least casual games you'll ever play. Like, it's not a
oh
game
yeah.
that you can just fire up and turn your brain off. You have to at least think about, like what kit you're bringing in, what missions you got to do. You got to know that stuff. So it's like it's not an easy game to just jump in. You have to have the will to actually play it, and the fact that so many people still do is a testament to what the game is. Like it's
Yeah,
amazing, really.
absolutely. We could talk community and, hype for Battle State and Tarkov and all this stuff all day. I really could. Me, I'm
Well,
I'm a
one
BSG
last thing,
dick rider
because
apparently, according to comments sometimes. Um
well, no, me too. I get it accused like
yeah.
all the time, and I admit to it. Like, yeah, so what? I am,
I
I
love
love
this
that
game.
they
I
made
love
my
that
favorite game.
studio.
Like,
Yeah,
why wouldn't I love them? But here's the thing, and I know we, got a lot to get into. So,
you do. Absolutely.
one last thing on all of this, just one thing Nikita did say, and I was happy to hear him say it was he pointed out how great Tarkov Community is,
Yeah,
Tarkov.Community, the actual website.
right.
Um, basically, he just said, like, it's a great tool for them, and he urged everyone to, like, use it, log
Yeah,
in, make an account, start using it, and I was happy to see Trent and Afraid and the mystery guy,
Mystery
uh,
Man.
yeah, kinda get their due, because they deserve
For
it.
sure. They worked hard on that, like, Afraid had said, or Trent, shit, I think it was Trent. No, Afraid. Like Afraid had said, he started this thing and almost just let it go because he couldn't figure out where to go with it. And if it
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah, it's
for
crazy.
for Trent and Mysterious Guy to hop in and just say, "Dude, this is something. Like we run with this." That it's just crazy to think that something so simple and so small that started off as just this basic idea for something they wanted more of, and almost didn't make it into that, and now it's the ideal way to reach BSG and get bugs across, and make changes and things happen. Like it's awesome. It's really cool. So yeah, they definitely deserve that praise and that appreciation. Because it is. If you're not part of Tarkov.Community, go sign up. It's worth it. Every bug you get, every error, every anything, you can go report it. You can put ideas out. You can do all kinds of cool stuff. Tarkov.Community is the shit.
It's becoming the
Hope
default way to, like, communicate between the devs and the community. It's becoming, like, the way.
Yeah, yeah. It's a really, really, really good tool. Definitely go be part of that. But moving on, because like you said, we do have a metric shit ton of things to get through. So reconnect time massively improved, 5 minutes down to a few seconds. Perfect. Awesome. Major engine and code optimization across all maps, including streets. This kind of falls in line with things we've already talked about, right? They already said that we've already discussed as well. Like they plan on bringing everything modernized, getting everything modernized, updating things, a little bit of graphic enhancement and stuff like that. So we'll see all that stuff in time. Reworked foliage and trees for better FPS. I don't know exactly what the plan is for that. I don't think they really went into it too much, but they did say, they have some ideas and some stuff that they want to implement to
He
change.
did say that, uh he said that he basically there was a bunch of old code that was left around from, like, uh, the bushes and trees and stuff that they just don't even use anymore because they had already been, like, updating them as time went. So, basically, he said that's what that is getting rid of all that old stuff that's just taking performance and you're not even using it right now.
Nice. Yeah, that'll be huge.
Yeah.
Faster raid loading and overall smoother performance. That's a pretty huge one. I don't
Yeah, all
know.
that stuff's
It's
just great.
Yeah, and I assume it's all code related. It's probably server side stuff as well. I don't know
Well,
how the
and just
load
to
times work for overall, like if they can increase them by that much, since it is. I mean,
well,
servers matter to a point, right? Like in that latency between, but wouldn't it be more specific on the computer, like the personal desktop you're using or whatever? Because like if I have a hard
I
drive,
mean,
you know what I mean. If I'm using an old shitty hard drive, like that's not going to make my game load faster. How can you make it load faster?
well, yeah, right. There's, obviously different sections in the loading time, and you see them now with, like, the bar. It'll come up and say, like, waiting for players. Like that.
Creating a
That's when a
loophole
hard drive
essentially.
is affecting. Is when you're waiting for players. Um, but just to point out real quick, he did kind of say that all this stuff is stuff that they've known they needed to do, but it's stuff that they weren't sure if they were going to do because it's like if they were going to make a second game, there was no reason to go through and just rewrite all the code. Well, now that they're just going for Tarkov 2.0, they're going to go in and just rewrite all the code. And that's what's exciting is all this stuff is a real thing this time because we've always heard about faster matchmaking times and this overhaul, that overhaul, AI overhaul, graphic overhaul. Like you've always heard that from BSG, but for the first time, this is for sure a thing they're doing, and they're doing it right now. Like this is all supposed to be like Q1 stuff
Plans
they're
for
working
Q1
on.
2026, yeah. Maybe
Yeah,
not every single thing
yeah,
we just mentioned, I'm sure, like he said, over he kinda
yeah.
broke it
Like the
down Q1,
graphics, he
Q2,
said will go
Q3,
over
but
time. Yeah, but the optimization as far as like the time, like
the
waiting to
raid
get in
loading,
raid,
the reconnect
yeah,
time, some of the performance and
all
core
that type
tech,
of stuff.
the code optimization
Yeah.
across all maps, stuff like that is supposed to be taking place. I'd say the foliage will get done pretty early too.
But for the first time ever, all that stuff is really happening
Like
right now,
100%
and
confirmed happening.
it's
Yeah, we have
yeah, it's
a
what they're
deadline for it.
focused on, and like he said, it's a big overhaul, it's a big task. He said Tarkov is a huge game with a lot of data, from one thing to the
Sure.
next. It's a very huge, like, job to change things, and for the first time ever, though, they're not just trying to improve things, they're rewriting it because they're sticking with it, and it's like, I'm just so happy to hear them say that because it's like, I kinda knew that if Tarkov didn't rewrite what they already had, things weren't ever gonna get that much better. Like,
Right,
they've
we were
already, like,
limited to what we
fixed
can have.
things.
Right.
Yeah, they'd already fixed things about as much as you could, but the fact that they're just going in and rewriting and getting rid of old code, and it's just, I think people
Well,
hear that
let's
and they don't appreciate what it really is
right,
because
well,
we've heard it for so long.
can you kind of what's equivalate? Is that the word?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you kind of equivalate, the idea behind a lot of these changes and how it might affect the game? Like, how would, them rewriting code compared to just fixing old code, like, how is that gonna majorly improve anything, right? In layman
Right.
terms, is there a way to kind of explain or even, like, an idea of, like,
Oh,
a
I'm sorry. Equivocate.
equivocate, that's what it is. Yeah, equivalate did not sound right.
Yeah, it took me a minute. I was sitting there thinking about it. Wait a minute,
Equivocate,
is that
yeah,
right?
that's it, a C instead of an L. But is there a way to kind of not everybody understands coding, not every I don't even understand coding, I don't understand why rewriting something compared to just going in and changing the old code entirely, which I guess is rewriting, but like, is it going to make that much of a difference performance wise and FPS
Well,
wise to go in and rewrite instead of just fixing
the easiest way for me to explain it is, say you started working on a game 10
10
years
years
ago,
ago?
okay? And say say you've been working on that game, you have your core engine and you've been fine-tuning that engine, and all of a sudden you see all these new games come out, like, let's look at Arc Raiders, even ABI,
Right.
similar type games, but they load in their matches much quicker, like there's not near as much downtime in between, and you're like, "Man, why are they so much better than me?" Well, the main reason is they started their build way later than you, so they have a lot better tools to use. That's the biggest difference is your tools that you have to make that, to make the game capable of running like that were only available years later. So you handicap yourself if you're using a 10-year-old engine because you just, no matter what you do, you can never get to the newer engine capabilities
Right.
because it's just not possible.
Well, and
So but that's easiest way to explain it is you basically have to get rid of all the old code and you just have to completely redo it because there's no way to tune that old engine up to match the new engines of today. It's just not
exactly.
possible.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect, perfect. So, essentially it's like having an old phone and while it'll update to a certain point, and it may even download that new current app you're looking for, but it's missing a lot of the features that the new phones have already, right? Kind of
Right.
bare bone basics. You said it well. You said it perfectly. I didn't need to add the phone
Yeah.
analogy, but I felt like it
Well,
was
no, no,
kind
I
of the
get it
same.
because I use just the video game analogy, which is basically what we're already
What they
talking
were
about.
doing,
But
yeah.
yeah, phone analogy is a good thing because it's like
Everybody goes through that at some point, right?
you can have the like flagship phone from 2016 and it beats all other phones,
From
even beats all of them
2016,
most of the
even
phones up to like 2017.
right,
But then like 2019, 2020, it's like even though you bought the flagship, it's like eventually the bare bones phones are going to start matching your flagship just because of the tech available at the time of production.
right.
So
Screen
that's what it is.
resolution, camera
Yeah.
quality, microphone quality, all these different things, and certain firmwares and other softwares that go into all these kind of things. Your old phone just is not capable of taking on,
Yeah.
where a
Even
new
though it was
phone
the best
has
phone.
the
Yeah.
baseline for that new information and new tech beyond that even.
That's the thing, and technology just never stops. So it's like, even though you got a $1,200 phone, it's like eventually those $300 phones are going to outperform your $1,200 phone. Um, and that's just, that's just
uh,
the way technology goes. It never stops improving. And
yeah,
engine wise, that's just where BSG's at. They're at a 10-year-old phone right now, trying to, compare themselves to other
keep it
flagships
comp.
that just came
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
And it's like, it's just never going to work unless they completely break open the internals and replace the CPU, the process, or the RAM, the GPU, the motherboard. Like, they got to redo
right, right.
everything. And that's what
Yeah,
they're doing finally. And it's just so great to hear, because that's the
it's much
worst
needed.
part of
Yeah.
is, the downtime and just
We
the things
already
that we've
spend so
dealt
much
with.
time in our stash, right? Loading for an additional
Yeah.
10 minutes is not ideal. And I
No.
don't typically complain until I hit around 10 minutes. I don't mind anything around 5 minutes and under. I'm happy with that for the most part. But that's also because I
Well,
pretty much only play Tarkov. I know if I get in another game, it's almost instant, right? Like it is relatively.
it's like, there's something in the Tarkov formula that is just very, very poor. Even when you're
Yeah.
playing arena, it's like, I was playing arena to do the new quest and everything the other day, and it's like, I'm still sitting like 5 minutes, 6 minutes in between an arena match. I'm like, that does not make sense. I was like,
No, yeah,
everybody's
that should
off
be
playing right
instant.
now.
That should be
It's
instant.
prime time. Yeah, I was only playing Last Hero. You're only loading 6 to 10 people in. Like, something is seriously wrong when,
Right.
and not only do I not get in, but the match cancels
It
itself 3 or 4
cancels
times
or
and says
yeah,
there's unknown
yeah.
error, and and it's like, all that
That 8
stuff
minutes you
is
just waited
just
is, tacked on to the next 8 minutes and the next 8 minutes, and
right. So
it adds
all
up.
that is just, that's all just old, you know
Old engine, old tech, old code,
yeah,
and
old code that just is not even, it's just
it's just
almost
not relevant.
barely working,
Yeah.
and yeah. So it's just
Well,
something that they have to get rid of.
and back on, like, the phone side of it, I the only reason I'm doing this, guys, is because I know with a lot of new players, and I know for a fact that not a lot of new players new to PC even, um, you know, they I am a PC enjoyer, enthusiast, whatever you wanna call it, and I don't understand a lot of this stuff, so I'm trying to just make it as simple as possible. That's the only reason why we're breaking it down this way. Um, so, don't think that we're sitting here trying to, like, equate something that isn't accurate. We're just trying to find a way to kind of connect it with you. And hopefully that resonates well. Hopefully. I'm not sure how else to go about it other than it's just old stuff and it needs to be brought new, right? Like,
Right.
yeah. So that'll be great. I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to this Tarkov 2.0. This even from the start of it. Throughout the year of 2026, we're looking at a bunch of different things happening. I can't remember exactly what got broken down quarter by quarter. Um,
Yeah, some of it's marked and, like what we have, so there are some things that,
well,
it'll say like
let's just
what's
keep on
what.
going down the list because I know these first few things are part of Q1. Uh, we already mentioned faster raid loading and overall smoother performance. That's Q1 stuff planned, along with gameplay and systems, which we've kind of been going over, new code, stuff like that. New arena based tutorial is part of Q1, I believe. Towards the end of Q1, I
Yeah.
think is what he was saying. So
Yeah, bringing
everybody
in the
loved,
interactive.
yeah, everybody
Yeah.
loved that arena tutorial. They thought it was cool. The announcer being a little quirky and goofy was fun, and just kind of added a layer to it. The tutorial actually taught you stuff. I don't know if you did it. I know I avoided it at first, and
No,
then people were like,
I
"It's
did
kind of
not. I've watched
funny."
people do it.
Yeah, so I ran through it, and like as a returning player or as a player of Tarkov, I didn't need it. You know what I mean? It was just unnecessary. As a new player, I think that's probably a way, way better tutorial than the base game tutorial ever could be. The arena tutorial tells
Um,
you how to actually function, how the combat systems, what to do, how to heal, how to do this, where to do this. Gives you a really good breakdown on why you need to use this to fix this and do this to do this. It's like when we do Sherpa sessions, we go over all these things on the wiki, and playing through that tutorial in a bare bone kind of sense felt like I was explaining it through the wiki. Like going over ballistics, going over this, going over meds, going over this. So it's really good to see because new players need to be treated like new players, not devil's advocate here. I understand Tarkov being Tarkov. It doesn't want to hold your hand. but you got to get them started.
Well,
You
yeah, it
can't
was
just
needed.
yeah
It was needed. And it's not like everything, like, but it's a good start. It's something that if they're ever going to put a little bit of help for people in, it needs to be like that. Like that's what it needs to be. That type
right
of presentation, because their
for sure.
earlier ones, were just like, oh well, go to YouTube and watch some of our videos, or go here and do that. This, you can fire up the game, not know anything else outside of the game, and at least you get the basics. And it's presented in a good way, and it's easy to understand. And I
Yeah,
feel like it, it was such a hit when everyone seen the way they did it on Arena, that immediately everyone was calling for him, like, you got to do that on base game, because that is just like the best thing you've ever done as far as
leaps and
helping
bounds
people
better.
out.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
and just real quick, back on talking about, the age of the engine, and why they got to, completely change things. This is Tarkov's original system requirements. In 2017, when the game
Yeah.
came out, this is what the system requirements were:
Oh, it's silly.
CPU, Intel Core 2 Duo, or a i3 at 2.4 gigahertz, or an AMD Athlon slash Phenom at 2.6 gigahertz.
2 cores.
RAM, 6 to 8 gigabytes of RAM was recommended. GPU, any DirectX 11 compatible GPU with 1 gig of VRAM. Example, GTX 460 or Radeon HD 6850. Storage, at least 8 gigabytes free on a hard drive. That was the original Tarkov system requirements. So that shows you right there. That's what the original engine was expected to be running on.
The ideal
So,
setting, system for Tarkov now is pretty close to what I run and what you run. A 40
yeah,
series GPU, Ryzen 3D chip, or a newer generation Intel chip, and ideally 48,
32.
preferably 64 gigs of RAM just to be
Yeah,
safe. But yeah,
16 is
32
the
is like
minimum
minimum.
now.
Yeah.
16 is
What are the minimum
minimum.
specs
32.
now, by the way, just if since you're on it?
Minimum specs right now are uh Ryzen 5, or actually hold on. I was on the original. I had to find
Current.
o- on Steam here
As I say, I
though.
can open Steam and find it.
Yeah, I'm looking right now.
All right, sick. Um,
But I know they've
yeah,
changed significantly.
yeah. I have a Ryzen 7 7800X3D. I have 64 gigs of DDR5 RAM. It's like around 1,000 or so odd dollars of RAM right now. And then I have an RTX 4080, 16 gigabyte card.
Okay.
And okay, sick.
Here's the minimum requirements now: is a Ryzen 5 3600 or similar, 16 gigs of RAM, a GTX 1660 or similar, 80 gigabytes of storage space. And now the recommended specs are an i7 14700 or better, 64 gigs of RAM, an RTX 4070 or better, 80 gigs of space.
So
So yeah.
realistically, I'm almost on the low end of what's required.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there. I'm right there on recommended.
Yeah,
I have a 14700K, which it recommends a 14700F. So I have a better CPU, and
yeah.
then it recommends a 4070, and I have a 4070 Ti. So, it's those are recommended for optimal performance,
Right.
but you
No
can still play
issues.
Tarkov
Yeah.
on
Good
the
frames,
minimum.
everything. Right.
Yeah, but it's like
Well, and that's also
it's
assuming
just
it's like on high or better settings or something, right?
right. Those are probably expected for ultra settings. The recommended are usually like ultra settings 60 FPS at like 1440p to 4K. Um, but it's night and day from the original system specs, which is you don't see
Massive.
that for a game. For a
No.
game to go from originally such low, recommending 1 gig of VRAM GPUs
Something that
and 6 to
my
8 gigs of RAM up to
integrated graphics on my processor could run the original Tarkov by itself, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
with 8 gigs of RAM or less potentially. It's crazy. It's insane to think
But
that
it
it's changed so much. I mean, you've got a
yeah.
game that's been running for 10 years that they've been updating code on. And again, I know we've talked a little bit about code already, and that's why we're so excited about the major, rewriting of code instead of just fixing, because it is going to make a major performance uh upgrade.
Yeah, Tarkov's really needed modernized for so long, and we're finally getting it now, and it is exciting.
It is exciting. It almost feels like Tarkov just released and the beta stuff was literally just beta, and we're, like, moving into the real thing now.
Yeah,
As
or like
weird
it's
as that
Tarkov
is for a
2.0.
10-year game, right? Like, yeah, like, it's crazy. Anyways, moving on, I wanna get into so, yeah, the arena style tutorial will be coming, to base game, if that wasn't made clear through what we were talking about a second ago. I wanna move on to our first visual, and this is one that has been asked for, I don't wanna say countless times, but a lot. It has been asked for a lot, especially with certain things that should already be transparent. We have transparent magazines, and we're getting a look at them in game. So here is see-through magazines, work in progress, as you can see down the bottom left. What? That's sick. Fire some
It is
shots.
sick.
Look at that. You can actually see what's left in your magazine. Why does that matter? Guns like P90.
Yeah,
You can physically see it. And I just want to point out that you can see the, like, oh no, that's the lock. Never mind, sorry. Yeah, no, it is. You can see middle posit on that, but you can see where it says 25 on there, so you can actually get like an idea of when it's halfway, even though you can visibly see it now.
well, and so many
Just
mags like have those little notches that are like counters for what you have left in your mag,
right.
and the fact that now that's usable in game, it's like, yeah, you're not going to use it all the time, but the fact that it's there now is just great.
Yeah, it's huge. It's pretty big, pretty big. So that is very exciting, pretty awesome. Glad to see it. Honestly, is like the real one. You know, I don't really care too much outside of the P90. Maybe a couple other guns that I'll potentially use it. Like, I know some like the drum mags, those are going to be crucial. Instead of having to even check, I can just tap L, right? Or not even necessarily tap L. I can probably just free look and get an idea of what's left in my magazine. It's also just cool to see, you know, that realism added again. Certain magazines are just see through. It's just what it is.
Well, and there's
Anyway,
definitely going to be certain situations where it's quicker to just move your mouse and look down at your mag. It's going to be quicker than actually like
looking
changing
at
your mag
your,
or
checking your
doing the
mag, looking at your
yeah, the
gun, like
alt
inspecting it.
T or
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it would be faster just be able to free look down real quick. If you're in a
yeah,
firefight and
exactly.
you're not sure where you're at in a magazine, especially if you're running like a 60 or a 45 or something like that, without having to pull the mag out or without having to take 3 to 5 seconds to inspect the gun, you can just quickly look down. You're good to go. You know you got half a mag left. Keep running.
Yeah. So,
Um,
niche times, it's going to play an important role.
yeah. Let's see. We have new animations for the hideout, mags, scav idols, and map interactions. Let's see. That is going to be pretty cool. I'm actually excited. I don't know if you can hear me smiling. I'm going to show you a handful of clips here. Stop. So, clip one. Here's a new interaction. Physical locks.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We're going to pull a pistol, or I assume whatever gun we're using, and shoot the
Yeah.
actual lock off of it. This does a
He
couple
just
of
said
things. This lets
he
people
just said
know
any
you're
kind of
at the
bullet.
door. Yeah, yeah, he just said shoot it, right? Or well, any bullet.
Yeah.
This is gonna do a couple things. One, if you're loud, this is gonna tell people where you're at. This is gonna tell people you're at that door. Two, this is just cool. This is just awesome to see. It's something that I thought should have. Oh, I think a lot of people have thought, why can't we shoot these
Well,
locks off? Why can't we do this? Why can't we
yeah.
do this? You know, and it's
It
always been plain to
it's
be able to
been in the
breach.
game. He said it's been in the game forever. He said they've had the animation ready for years. He said just didn't have time. He said, but now we
Timing. Yeah.
finally are going to put it in. Um, but he said it's also only going to be on limited amount of doors.
Right.
He said it's not going to
Specific
be
doors,
every
certain
locked door.
locks. Right.
Yeah.
I'd say I would say that'll be the animation that we would, or the style of lock that we'll see when we can do it. You know, very specific, obvious thing. The
Yeah.
next clip that I want to show you, stop it, is this one here. Dynamic car alarms. That's pretty cool. You're in a
Yeah.
firefight, accidentally shoot a car, Now, if you were both shooting suppressed, the whole map knows where you're at. 2, these are really good little alarms, right? So what can you do with things that make noise? Like the airdrop, and sure, it doesn't make a lot of noise, but it does technically. It's this
You can
massive
use it,
airplane
yeah.
flies overhead, and then this giant thing drops down. It's something on the map that you can interact with in a way that you can use it as bait. You can shoot a
Yep.
car alarm. People start thinking, "Oh, there's somebody fighting down here. Let's get over there. You know, let's do this, let's do that." You hear the alarm, and then next thing they know is they're walking into an ambush or they're walking into a trap. So it's
Yeah.
just a cool little feature, and I think it's awesome. I think it's funny running around on streets, go to shoot a scav, and you miss, and an ambulance maybe or a car or whatever starts to just going off, and you're like, "Oh shit," you know. So that's pretty
Yeah.
wild. And then the last one that I want to show you is clip number 3. We have keypad locks, another style of breach where we will have to find a specific code. That's yellow keycard right there.
Yeah, that he
He
goes
just
into.
unlocked. So as you can see here, it either has the keycard swipe, which is what we typically do, or if we have the code for it, you can just punch the code in. Uh, Pretty sick. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty fun. I think that just adds another layer of stuff that they can do in raid to things that we have to find and learn and just, oh well, I know this code. Does it change each month? Does it change each wipe? Like if we know the code, do we just know the code? Is it a one-time code? Like how does it work? There's a million questions that form from it, but I'd say it's something they have balanced out to in a way that is probably going to be pretty interesting.
Well, he said a lot of that stuff was gonna be used for events. So I would imagine the code thing is probably gonna be like an events only. That way, it's only gonna work for a short amount of time or for a
Right.
limited event. And then probably for the next event it'll get reset or vice versa. Like it'll just be there for,
The
one
code will
season and then
change
get,
or yeah.
yeah, there's gotta be some way that it gets reset. But yeah, a lot of interactive items inside maps. It's really cool.
It is really cool. And it's just more features that they can add as they fix the game too, right? As things get running better, they can, have a little more freedom to add more and more stuff to it. Because that's
Right.
not taxing on the code or taxing on the system in any way once they free up the space for it and that kind of thing.
Well,
Um,
that's what was funny is anytime he introduced something new, chat was like, minus 500 FPS.
yeah,
And
yeah,
Nikita's like, yeah, he's like, yeah, you're right. He's like, yeah, you're gonna be running at negative 100 FPS by the time I put these in. It's
yeah.
it's pretty fun.
It was, yeah. Um, let's see. New gear and weapon mods. I don't think we have all the weapon mods that they plan on showing us, but I do have a look at some of the gear. Here are some of the gear pieces. I think this one's pretty cool. I like this little fanny pack in the front, this little dump pouch. That's pretty cool. Uh,
Yeah.
Got a grenade pouch on the side. Like it's just cool to see more gear coming out looking more and more modern. I think that's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. Here's another one, slightly more or slightly darker AVS rig. Actually, that's not even the AVS. This is a new rig entirely, isn't it?
I think so.
Pretty cool. Plate carrier AVS. No, it is the AVS. It is the AVS. It says it on the bottom. But it's the AVS plate carrier with different pouches and things
I
on it
just
for
say, yeah,
sure.
the AVS itself has a few different systems, so it could be a
Yeah,
new system.
yeah, it's fully modular. Here's another look at the AVS. Different angles of it, and then yet another look at the AVS. All right, so yeah, both of those are AVS. Yeah, sweet. Just different variations for it. Um, AVS
Did you not have the
multicam.
weapon?
I do.
Oh, okay, okay.
Then we have the BlackRock chest rig. This is an armored BlackRock rig. Hopefully, it has the same layout because it has a 4 slot in it, and I think that's one of my favorite rigs in the game, the gray one.
Yeah.
And here we get some collar variation again. This looks like multicam, and then we have black, I assume. Let's see. We have the chest rig Eagle Industries Rhodesian one. Pretty cool looking rig. Is this one of the? I don't know. I haven't been to terminal yet, so I don't know. This has no, whoa, that's kind of gnarly. No back protection whatsoever.
Yeah, I've seen a few like that that are just,
Front
front
cover
protection only.
combat. Yeah, you're not running backwards at combat, so typically I get shot in the back, I'm dead 9 times out of 10 anyways. I guess I would run something like this because I typically take back plates out of my armor and rigs and stuff as it is, so that's pretty cool. I like that. Inside this, it says Murphy. I know that name sounds familiar. I don't know why. Maybe this is one of the Black Division guys or something. I don't know. Let's see. And then we have. I don't want to show off things that I don't want to show off. Here is the AK-308 handguard. Finally, right, is what Nikita said. I giggled about it a little bit. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. I'm missing some stuff, man. Hold on. I'll have to go to my. Fine.
Well, that's all right. I was gonna say it was only really two other things.
I have everything
I'm
right
not
here. So we have the
okay.
UMP 45
That
handguard,
was my favorite
bus
one.
stock
The
adapter,
the
long
yeah,
barrel.
the new barrel
Yeah.
length. I mean, look at that. You basically have a freaking like AR type
Yeah. Yeah.
ump now.
The UMP is going to have some little more stability, a little bit better range fall off. And I imagine that we're going to have longer handguards, not just this short one. So, this may be built specifically for the short barrel, while the long barrel has, an 18-inch one, kind of like the MCX got recently, and it looks phenomenal. I love the new MCX. We also
Yeah.
have being able to put actual butt stocks on here, which is pretty dope. Pretty excited for that. I would like to
Yeah,
see a lower receiver swap so we can actually switch out pistol grips and things, but it is what it is. I'm not mad at this at all.
yeah, the ump just needed some love. It hadn't had
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
The only thing you could ever do is throw a suppressor, a sight, and a hand
four
grip
grip.
or a hand
Yeah,
or a yeah, that was it. Like a grip, a silencer, and a scope. Now you can at least put a different barrel, different butt stock.
handguard,
Like,
maybe even
yeah,
suppressor
that's huge.
options might
Yeah,
change
I'm
a
sure
bit.
with the barrel change, there'll probably be different suppressors.
Yeah,
But yeah, that was my favorite one I seen out of everything. I was like, I
yeah,
can't wait
this
to
is
use that.
cool. I'm excited for this. And then we have I cut it off. It's the PKM hexagon handguards. They just
Yeah.
look really cool, pretty slick option. I like them a lot. And then we have the AK-308 again. So there's all that. Now we'll go into I guess we'll do clothing next. We'll go up to the first thing here, ignore all this other stuff. We have scope reflection rework. This is a work in progress, you know what I mean? This is the lens rework. So you can see the glare in it, right? As they rotate around, you can see the light hit it differently and all that kind of stuff, and as you turn and things. So this tells me a couple things. One, we might be able to notice this in raid, like actually see it, but then you can also like spot it on your gun itself.
Yeah.
Maybe if the sun's
Yeah, he
hitting just
said
right, something might glare off, and you'll be like, "Oh shit, there's somebody there." I don't know if they'll take it that far, but being able to see it on
well, he
your
said
own lens is pretty cool too.
internally they kind of fought with it back and forth on whether they were even going to mess with it. But he said it just bothered him that scopes had absolutely zero reflection on them. He said it just looked fake. He said when you look into it, it just
It
made them
did,
look fake.
yeah,
He said because they have to have at least some reflection.
right,
And he said in the video they look really dark. He said that's obviously not going to be like that when they're done. They said that's just
right.
part of the work in progress. But yeah, it's a cool little change.
I think so. Anything that adds that extra step of realism for me is always welcome every single time.
Yeah.
Um, think I'm skipping ahead on the list that we have, but let's look at the clothing and stuff since we're already right here on the wiki, and I kind of already spoiled it as it is. So here is some of the new stuff coming with future updates. I don't know if this is planned for like the winter stuff that we're seeing. I don't know if this is coming soon or next year or what. I don't remember if he actually talked on that. I just know that he said here's some new clothing stuff that's coming along the way. We have the USEC top winter set. And then we have the USEC top bottom preppers. I like this a lot. This would actually make me consider going back to USEC.
I think
Um,
those are coming with Icebreaker in next month with the Icebreaker event.
See, now I could see that 100%. That would make sense.
I'm pretty sure he said that. I'm pretty sure he said
Is that what he
these
said?
are all
Oh.
coming next month. Yeah,
Oh,
pretty
awesome.
sure he did.
Okay, I missed that. That's my fault then.
Yeah,
This is
don't quote me
cool.
100%, but I'm pretty sure he did. I'm almost positive he said these are coming with the next update.
I like the
So,
join or die tattoo on his arm. That's pretty slick. The only thing I hope is that, for every outfit that they add for one faction, I hope they add a counterpart to the other faction. And like, since you guys are getting a bubble vest and a nice little flannel shirt with some black pants, like hopefully we get something pretty slick too. I
right.
don't know if that'll be the case, but we're just seeing what they've shown us, so we don't know yet. Here is the bear top and bottom winner set. I think it looks pretty slick. I also love the fact that with last year's, which is purchasable on the website, last year's bear outfit, you got white bottoms and a tan looking top, and this year you get a white top with tan bottoms, so you can either go full tan or full white, which is awesome. Something I've actually been wanting to do ever since snow was introduced is go full white camo. I could go full
Yeah.
camouflage in the spring and in summer and fall. Why can't I go full camouflage in the winter? But that looks like once Icebreaker hits, now we can. So that's exciting. Um, Here is the USEC bottom winner set. I think it's the same as last year. You got a white top and tan bottoms, or vice versa, and now you'll have the full set. I actually like these a lot. I like that little bit of tan breakup, just because you see a lot of the tan going through the maps, right? Like when you're traversing through, it's white and tan, not just all white.
Yeah.
So the
Last
tan is
year
kind of
it was
helpful.
white top, tan bottom. Well, not tan bottom, but like yellow and brown
Yellow,
bottom.
brown,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah.
dead foliage.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll have the full set, just like we'll have the full set, which is cool. Everybody will be all white. Which in the snow, to be honest, the white doesn't. It looks more dark than anything, so it's
Yeah,
not like it's a full white out.
the snow is so bright, everything looks dark. Anything, any item.
I will say they added the white Cayman helmet with the white slap armor and the white mandible. And then you can just put on the gimp mask now to stay warm. And that's a pretty sick addition too. Let's all arena based stuff, which we can kinda go into a little bit. Do we have?
I
Let me
just said we can
see.
go into that real quick because we don't have any of that in here. Nothing
Yeah,
about the arena update is in this.
no,
Um,
there is not. I was hoping to see. Okay, here it is. Perfect. So this isn't all they added, but this is a chunk of the stuff that they added. The weapon paint set you can get from completing the event task line. It's 11 tasks. A couple of them might be a little bit challenging. If you play arena, probably not. If you're new to arena, it might be a little bit tough, but you can definitely get it done. You got like a month and a half or something. You got plenty of time to get this done. This ends February something, 3rd or so. But there is the Cold Fear Multicam Alpine Balaclava, the new skin, several new skins, by the way. They added 20 levels to the Battle Pass. They added a new section to the tactical map, and they introduced the event task line to unlock, a few things. We got the Cold Fear, we got the weapon paint set, we got the Anna tactical M2 plate carrier and multicam Alpine, so we got a white rig, pretty slick. We got the U-Lock in white. We have the Atomic Defense CQCM ballistic mask in blasted ice, which looks pretty cool. And then we have the M32 headset with white paint on it.
which I
They
wish was a
added,
different headset.
I do too. Any other headset would have been awesome.
Yeah, I hate the M32.
I do too. They also went and added a few. That's redacted, and I don't know why. Let me curate this I can't curate this at all. Why did they mix these in? Um, New maps screenshots for Tarkov Arena. Okay. This is going to cover what they just added and apparently some new stuff coming that I wasn't going to talk about just yet, but we'll go ahead and talk about. That's fine. So this is Immercom. You'll recognize Mountain Stasha in the background. This is literally the interior area of the medical base, of the USEC medical base, or whatever that's called on the wiki map. Everybody just calls it med camp, right? On Woods over
Yeah,
by
yeah.
RUAF. You're literally just fighting in the interior of this. Not much has changed. There are some changes, but nothing much. Nothing noticeable, in my opinion. I
No,
honestly, maybe nothing at all. It looked like some of
everything's
the
just
crates and boxes were moved around a little bit and set
yeah.
up a little bit differently. But yeah, this is med camp. You're fighting med camp. This is awesome. Uh, this next one, we have location redacted. We don't know where this is. Assumedly, this is Icebreaker, just based off of the architecture. Could be wrong, but I'm starting to think that we're getting with the Icebreaker map to base game. I'm kind of thinking that we're getting an arena map for Icebreaker as well.
Yeah, I can see that.
Um, you know, we never mind. I just went down left field. I was gonna say, do we know where Rizzy and them were being held? Den, Rizzy, and all those guys, where they were being held at when uh they were like peeling the potatoes and stuff in that white room? That was not on a ship, right? Maybe I'm just
I don't even
misremembering.
remember. I was gonna say I don't even remember
Tinfoil
when that
hat,
where that
real
was.
quick. Tinfoil hat. It was in the Chronicles of Rizzy. One of the right before the arena introduction stuff. I see white shoes bottom left here. And I was like, oh, Rizzy. And then I was like, wait, the same cot style beds. This is somewhat similar to a point. Is this like some kind of tie-in? Was Rizzy and them being kept on Icebreaker? But hey. I'm just spewing nonsense here. Don't take anything I just said literally. I only say that because of the white shoes and the cots. That's it. And I don't think that's true. I think I'm just speculating nonsense here. But yeah, this is probably Icebreaker. Most likely we're getting an Icebreaker arena map. Here is another redacted location. Again, same architecture, feels a lot like Icebreaker. And this is from the Escape from Tarkov arena webpage, or Twitter page as well. And then after that, we have dorms. So this is the layout for dorms, right? You have 2-story behind us on left. You can go around the exterior. You can go like 30 feet outside of dorms, all the way around dorms, like 2-story and 3-story. There's a few feet on the back side, a few feet on the right side, left side, and you can traverse this middle area. But it is literally just fighting 2-story and 3-story in this area. Like it's more tree cover. There's definitely more foliage and stuff in the way just to help break up those lanes. But it is just that. I mean, identical. It's dorms. It's dorms. You're fighting dorms, and it's so much fun. I have been nonstop last hero dorms outside of doing the specific things for the event task line. This is all I've been running, and I just go in and pretty much look at it like practice for running PvP dorms, like on base game,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
fun now.
worry free, carefree. I don't have to try to find a bunch of people to go do a custom game, and then once I die or that game's over, we got to go back to the lobby, reset. Like no, we can just run dorms on arena now, and it's so much fun, dude. It is so much fun. Oh my god, it's a blast. They added like new entryways into the dorms and stuff too, so you can go in from a window here in front of us off this car on the right side. You can go in just to the right of that, which adds this crazy little choke point through this hallway right here. And then you can come in through the back glass on the 3-story, 2-story.
Yeah,
Has left and
bathroom
right.
on both sides now, 2-story and 3-story. There's
Yeah,
entrances to the bathroom.
yeah. Bathroom on 2-story. First floor on 2-story is wide open all the way across, so that fence isn't there to cut you off.
Yeah,
Um, it's just cool. It's really
yeah,
cool. You got to go
it
play
is.
it. It's so much fun. I've been having a blast with it. I'm like obsessed with this map. I don't want to do anything else. I assume this map stays along with base and Immercom, um, after the event. But man, this is cool.
Yeah,
This is
yeah, I
fun.
would hope so.
And then we have another location redacted. Again, looks like Icebreaker, just based off architecture. Um, Obviously going to be an arena map, and then we have the new base, which would be Shoreline's farm area. Is that what they call it? Farm?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. This is resort would be over here on the left. Back right where car extract is. The farm, like it's this. And it is just this small area, not to the left, up where towards those buildings on that side. Like this field isn't open, the gun range isn't open, the field on the right isn't open. It's just the farm itself, just that little
yeah.
encircled area.
Just the 2
But
main buildings and then a little extension on each side.
it is awkward. I don't know. Maybe I just haven't played it enough because I've just been running dorms outside of like a couple times I've been to base. The lanes feel
I've liked
really
all
wide
3.
open. I don't know, man. I feel weird about base. I enjoy Immercom. I had a blast playing on it. I love dorms, and then I go to base, and it's just like I'm getting shot left, right, and center. You know, I try to like hold an area. There's people moving behind me, in front of me, everywhere. It just feels really open,
Well,
and I'm not used to that with arena. You know what I mean? I think
they've
that's all it is. I just need to get comfortable
they've
with the
been
map.
nerfing them. Yeah, they've been nerfing them. They've been lowering the player counts. It was like at one
12 at
point
one point on
10
this
was
one,
on
right?
Himmercom, and now it's down to 6. Um, so
To be
I
fair,
don't know if they did
that
that
was
to.
necessary.
Yeah,
10 on
it was
Immercom
because
was
I played it when it was
insane.
10, and it
Yeah,
was awful. It was spawn kill, spawn kill, spawn kill.
yeah, yeah. It was a bad one. That
But
was not great.
basically, I think that's gonna happen to where, whatever problems there are, they're gonna iron them out somehow.
Bugs and weird glitches or anything like that. That I haven't seen anything. Nobody's pointed anything out to me. I haven't encountered anything. Everything seems to be running really smooth.
Yeah.
Raid or match times are really quick for the most part, outside of like the matching errors here and there, like you said. You know, sub 10 minutes for the most part. I haven't had it, and most of the time when I'm waiting, it's like team fight and blast gang. I haven't had a lot of trouble in last year. I think I'm usually waiting like 3 to 5 minutes, which I guess is a long
Yeah.
time, right? Like that is
Yeah, it's
absolutely
still
a long
crazy. Yeah,
time.
it is still crazy. Yeah.
Um, where I'm just also used to just Tarkov time, like it's been so long of like if it's more less than 10 minutes, it's not that bad. If it's more than 10 minutes, you got to start putting, like, well, at 13 I'm leaving, this kind of thing. Um it's just I obviously I would love to see things much faster. But yeah, the maps run great. Everything's FPS are smooth. I haven't had any issues. Everything's been solid. Um I'm just not the biggest fan of base at the moment. I'll play it more. I'll get more comfortable with it. Let's see. Another location redacted. Looks like once again this is the icebreaker map. Do I need to keep saying it every time it pops up?
Well,
Like,
it's like could be icebreaker, could also be end of the line. We know it's one of those two more than likely
well, the only reason I'm saying icebreaker is because of the rounded
because of the
ceilings.
rooms.
Yeah, in the
Yeah,
in the way
yeah,
the
yeah.
rooms look, like they're all very architecturally
Yeah,
look like a
and you're
ship.
probably right. Most of them are probably that.
Because everything we
End
saw
of
end
the
of the
line, I think,
line
is
is
more the
real.
dungeon looking stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's what. Yeah, which we're getting ready to look at in just a moment. Here's the other one that screams uh icebreaker ship, right? Uh, you know, pretty obvious here. Location redacted once again. Arena map. So we're back to the beginning on that. Now, oh wait, no, we're still looking. Okay, that's going to be in the next leak, or not leak, the next bit of information. So here's just more area for the icebreaker map. Yeah, yeah, it's nice to actually see these things that we've seen in Nikki leaks come to fruition, right? Like we saw this before it was
Yeah,
painted and done up, and like we saw
yeah.
the little labs room or the Terra group room. We saw the that little weird entryway where we were trying to decide, is this an arena map? Is this a base game thing? Like if this is base game, these lanes are crazy. These doors don't go anywhere. Like what is this? We were trying to put it together, and now it's like, oh, okay, it's this. This picture throws me off though, because this is not a ship. Do I think this is a new map? Actually, let's go back. This isn't the same style anymore. This is no longer rounded ceilings. What did rounded? Okay. Do you think this is end of line, or do you think this is like a streets map or something, or what do you think this is?
I
Yeah,
mean,
we're
I can't
not.
see what you're looking at.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's
It's
probably why
okay.
you haven't been chiming in too, I would assume,
Yeah.
or at least as much. Yeah, here you go. Now you can see. Shit. Okay, here's what we looked at so far. We have
Well, which yeah, I knew everything you.
Intercom and all this,
I
right?
seen all this, so I knew what you was describing. Yeah, I knew what you
These
was
all have the
describing. I
rounded
seen it all.
roofs. So like these just kind of scream icebreaker, right? You know what I mean? Like they all
That I don't think is icebreaker. That I think is end of the line. I
this
think
one?
because he said anything that has like the dead bodies, the guys up against the walls, because he said there's a horror type theme to it. So I think see all the blood and the dead. I think that's end of the line.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
So this is
But it
icebreaker.
looks kind of underground bunkerish.
But yeah, maybe this is end of line as well. This could not be icebreaker. This could be end of line. I didn't think about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's true.
Well, he was talking a lot about End of the Line when he showed those. When he was talking about Icebreaker, he played a video for Icebreaker.
He did. Do
Um,
we have that, right? So, is End
yeah,
of Line gonna be an
it's in
arena
this.
map?
Now, see, that looks like
This looks
Icebreaker.
like Icebreaker. The
Yeah,
next couple pictures for this one, this looks like Icebreaker.
yeah, but also could
Blood on the floor and
you just
everything else.
yeah,
But then we
you
were
just
on
don't know.
to these ones. Yeah, not knowing is half the fun, right?
Yeah,
But then we
but
have
see, I don't
these.
think that's Icebreaker. I
No,
do not think that's
at first I
Icebreaker.
was like, "Oh, is this Icebreaker?" It kinda like parts of it could be, the piping and everything running up through the ceiling, all the electrical, all that stuff, visible, kind of gives like
Yeah,
a
it still
character
could
vibe.
be.
Then you get to this picture and it looks less like Icebreaker. It reminds me exactly of that Nikki leak we did months ago where, we saw these rooms and everything being built out and we were thinking Icebreaker because the leaks were hand in hand with Icebreaker. It had that weird entryway lane, which we're getting ready to take a look at in just a second. But then we get this picture. I'm like, okay, well, I genuinely don't know what this is. Like, I have no idea where this is. This looks
It
like
looks like
streets, maybe Ground
a
Zero.
skyscraper that you can
Yeah,
see outside, like, so yeah,
yeah, it's
that's
100% a skyscraper. And we're in the interior of a building. Like, there's no doubt about that. But then we see, yeah, this image. No, this was not part of the Nikki leak, unless it was, kind of tucked away in a way we couldn't see, and we didn't have all the assets loaded into it or anything yet either. But a few months back, we had that Nikki leak, and it was tied in with the Icebreaker stuff, and we were seeing a bunch of terror group type things that kind of fall in line with this third, you know, uh,
when he was
this
showing those,
image.
he said he didn't understand why the new arena maps were mixed in with those. They weren't supposed to be. He even said that. He's like, "I don't know why these are in here. They're not supposed to be in here."
What, these ones?
No, the new arena maps, the
Oh,
customs, shoreline, and
that's what.
woods.
Well, that was throwing me off. I was thinking.
Yeah,
So
they were not
one,
supposed to be mixed in with that stuff.
but the Tarkov Arena page shared them. Are they saying that these are going to be arena maps, or are these just leaks and looks?
They probably just shared them because of the arena stuff that was in them. Because
I
when
do it.
Nikita
That's
released them, he
wacky.
accidentally yeah, Nikita accidentally released them all together, and he said
Yeah,
like I said, he pointed out, he said those were not the arena stuff was not supposed to be in with all those pictures. The new arena stuff wasn't.
fair enough. Fair
So,
enough.
I
Fair
don't
enough.
know what happened there.
Okay. Here's something really cool that we have: events and quests, big icebreaker event plus large quest line Q1. So, like you said, next month icebreakers coming in. They didn't really go in depth on what it is, just that it's going to be playable and it's in Q1. So we'll have to wait and see on that one for sure. We're getting,
Well, and he did say also probably a, uh, single player type experience. He said that for both, but he
interesting.
said but he said he didn't say specifically single player, so I don't know what exactly
Yeah,
he's
maybe a co-op type situation that we're trying to survive through. And
yeah,
that's
I'm not sure.
these guys cook up some pretty wacky stuff for events.
Well, that's another thing
Um,
he said. He said it's unlike anything you've ever seen in any other game. So,
yeah,
he said the way it's gonna be done. So,
we'll see
he
what
said it's
happens
something you've
there.
never really seen in any type of, game.
Yeah, that's interesting because we've seen a lot of stuff in a lot of games. Uh,
Yeah.
he's used that statement a couple times, twice now, I think. Like,
Well,
actually, like
I
you've never seen this before
I
so
think this
far.
was supposed to come with 1.0 because we talked about that with 1.0, there was gonna be a new type of mode, something that we had never seen before, and something that people were gonna copy, kinda like they copied,
The
extraction shooter.
extraction genre,
Like
yeah.
yeah, he said that was coming with 1.0, well, then it didn't, and now he's saying it again, and he said there are gonna be a bunch of these new events where they're kinda doing new things, trying out new ways to play them, and I think a lot of this was supposed to be ready because
Yeah.
remember on the roadmap we had that huge event, the one with the cult symbol and everything on it,
Right,
and we
right.
never did get it.
Never got it.
Well, now he's saying huge events are coming, and so I think everything just kind of got pushed back, and I think we're just getting all that now.
Yeah, and I mean that makes enough sense. We know they were
Yeah,
slammed
yeah,
on workload, so
yeah.
as long as we get the stuff. But yeah, that's what I was gonna say was,
Um, what I we're past arena, but one thing quick back to the new things in arena. What do you think about the new mask, the new pay to win mask?
pay to win mask.
The one that stopped you from getting
It's
frostbite?
free. It's battle pass.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like it's not
You gotta
available in the
buy
game.
arena.
Like
Yeah, yeah, you gotta
yeah,
have
you got to
arena.
buy. Not only do you have to buy arena, you have to play a
Yeah,
ton
you
of
gotta
arena to even get
play
it
it. You gotta get
unlocked.
ref
Because
leveled up pretty high. You gotta do a
I
bunch of
played
shit to
hundreds
do
of
it.
hours arena and I don't have access to it. You know what I mean? Like
I
it's
think when you do something like that, you have to have an alternative if you're not gonna give it to the players outright, if they're not gonna get my brown Gimp's fucking face mask that keeps me cool or keeps me warm and lets me wear helmets, you gotta do something. You gotta
green.
do whatever. I'm colorblind. I don't
I know.
whatever, dude.
I just point that out.
My green gimp mask, if you're not gonna let everybody have it, I earned it, sure, but maybe add a variant that's a different color, or maybe just a half mask that keeps you warm, or maybe a helmet that's not the penis helmet that keeps you warm. Like you can't really, I don't
They're gonna
know,
have to do
man.
something. Yeah.
They did okay with the TEPs, right? Because it was like, oh, it's
Yeah.
short term. You're going to get these added. We got something better coming. It's all just a small part of the system. The Gimp
I think they
mask is a
nerfed them into the
little.
ground too.
They did nerf him into the ground. The Gimp mask is a little bit different. This is something I'm using to have an advantage over every other player I see in the game, and this
Well,
is a decent
now
advantage because I'm wearing helmets and you're wearing fleece. You know what I mean?
the w- the one difference is you can uh you can drop them in base game. You can sell them in base game. So there are people getting them like
Well,
that.
you're
Like I've
driven
seen
economy. Yeah, sure.
yeah, Willers has been running it nonstop. He doesn't play arena, but he's been killing everybody, taking them from him. People that are wearing them. So, and like I said, you can buy them on the flea, but I think it's like level 30 or 40 and beyond or something.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll start doing that. Maybe I'll start running around, taking all three of them in raid with me, and just dropping them. Maybe I'll
Well,
do
I
something to get
almost
back to the
think
community. I don't know. They got to do something though, because
I,
it's pretty unfair in my opinion.
I almost think by the time the event actually starts, like
Something else will be
I
in the
think they'll
process.
have
Yeah,
something. Yeah. Well, I think you'll be able to like in the actual event, you'll be able to like earn those somehow.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Because I don't throw that unfair word around, especially Tarkov related. Enough people throw it without reason as it is. Um,
Well, I've been playing
I'm
without it and I've been just
also
fine.
right.
Like, so it's really not too
Wearing a
unfair.
fleece beanie or not doesn't really make a difference to me. You're gonna die whether you get shot in the face or not, right? So, um, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I do think that you need to have something else in there, but again, like you just said, we haven't even gotten to the base game winter event. We don't know what's coming with that. We don't know what's being introduced with that. We don't know anything really. So
Well,
wait and
and if
see.
I've noticed
Jumping the
anything,
gun and being an
yeah,
ass and like kind of like starting to like assume it's not going to be in the game when this stuff hits and it's necessary. The only reason I say it's kind of unfair is because I can use it right now and wear my helmet. I can wear a
yeah,
Cayman helmet with a mandible, all that stuff, be pretty covered armor wise, and still be warm. Where
yeah.
most players
Well,
cannot, and it's not great, it's not ideal, but in 20 to 30 days, whatever, I think it'll be balanced. Yeah,
yeah, that's the thing. Whenever they do add things that are unfair, they usually only have it that way for a week or two, and then it gets either patched or it gets an equal item, for everybody somehow gets
yeah,
in there. So
yeah, yeah. I think it'll be okay. I think it is
yeah.
a little bit, just like the TEPs, everybody was throwing a fit about that. Everybody's like, "Oh, this is broken. It's a problem. It's a problem." People were getting them still left and right, and donating them in raid, we'll say, by dying, over and over again. And not only were they
Well,
dying
and
with these new ears, they were dying with some pretty thick helmets on. So it was a win-win for the players that were getting
they
those kills.
also put those on the bosses. Like I killed the boys a
True.
couple times this wipe, and they've had them in both
Yeah.
times. I think Knight had them in last time.
Pretty sure Killa can have them in. Tequila can have them in. I'm almost
But
certain
yeah,
I got a
it's
pair off
it's
tequila, I think. But yeah, so they balance things
I
out. They
seen a
always
lot of
balance it
people
out.
upset,
Well, just like the
and I
pockets,
understand why.
right? Everybody's pissed about pockets. Well, here's a way to unlock it. Is it ideal? Is it easy? No, but
Well, and
doable,
see,
and you
pockets, I
can
don't
get
think
it.
as much. You know what I mean?
No,
Because it's
no, but
like,
I'm just saying, like, that's just another thing that the
yeah,
community was like,
yeah.
"Oh, it's not fair," you know? There's
But
plenty
like
of things that have come around, and
game altering things such as this. I think this is one of the more egregious ones they've
I
done, but
do
I'm
agree
hoping
with
they
that.
figure a solution out soon.
If it wasn't so important to be warm, it wouldn't be a big deal. With them having, frostbite now drain your health relatively quickly,
Yeah.
throughout a raid, me being able to wear that is a huge advantage over other players right now.
Well,
Long
and
term, I don't think it will be.
it's like winter and the frostbite is only a quarter of, you know,
A
your
year-to-year
seasons. You only
session,
have it,
right.
yeah. 3 of the other seasons you don't have this problem. So it's like it's only going to be a problem for a specific, winter uh winter Tarkov. So
Right. It is
but it
only a
still needs to
short
be
amount of
fixed.
time, but it does need to be balanced. It has to be relatively fair because not
Yeah.
every player can afford to go buy Arena and Tarkov and do
Well,
all this shit. Not every player has the time to go do all this shit. I think it's only fair to balance it out in a way that's reasonable for everybody. But
and the other thing is
and
like then they'll be like, "Well, we'll put them in, but they'll be behind this crazy
crazy
stuff
task
you got to
unlock, you
do
got to be
that
level 40 and
90%, yeah, 90% of the player base is not going to come close to doing." Like,
well, that's what I was gonna say
I
anyways,
just
because there's already
I don't like
unfair
that stuff.
advantages that other players already have, right? Well, I know this task line specifically unlocks the Alton helmet, and I can wear those full time from level 30 on. Okay, well, I just have to get to level 30, and now I have a huge advantage over every other player in the game. I can run an Alton helmet every single raid, if not earlier, and I have these TEPs. Um, but that doesn't mean that the player has some kind of negative effect for not wearing. That's what throwing me off about it. It's not that it's, oh, I can stay warm and I don't have frostbite. It's I'm not dying and I'm wearing a helmet. You have to wear fleece on your head to stay alive.
Well,
That's the
here's
unbalanced part. That's the unfair part. That's what bothers me. Either reduce
here's the
the
thing
the health tick from it or make it, I don't know. Something's just off.
do you always get frostbite and lose health, or because I
Yes.
haven't really noticed it? Is it just because I've had a like face mask on, or
You have to have
like,
something to keep you warm. It'll tell you what's keeping you warm. And if not, that health drain is substantial. Like it will kill you relatively
well,
quickly.
even on my scav though, I've only had health drain a couple times, and it's only when I've been sitting. As soon as I move, I
Uh,
feel like I warm up. Like when I move, I don't get the health drain. At
Pretty
least
sure
not
it's
that I've
every
noticed.
time. It should be every time you're in raid. If you are cold, if your frostbite is active, you are losing health.
Yeah, but I think frostbite's only active if you're sitting still. Like I think you, as long as you're moving, I think you're good. At least that's been my
I thought you had
experience.
to be running for it to not have
That
frostbite.
might be what it is. It might be when I'm
Because if
running from
you're,
place to
I
place,
was
and
say I
then
know
once
if
I
you're
get
walking,
inside,
it drains you. Just walking, like
and
spot to spot.
once you're inside, obviously you don't
Frostbite
get it
goes
either.
away.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
standing next to
yeah. So I
barrels,
think
burn barrels, stuff like that. Things fire.
that's probably why I haven't noticed. It's because I'm just running from spot to spot. You know what I mean? So it's not.
Yeah, I've caught it on my PMC every raid because, well, not since I've had the mask, but because I don't run much on PMC. You know what I mean? So I've been like, what the
Well,
hell?
see,
And
even
then
on
on
my
my scav,
PMC, I
even on
haven't caught it.
Lighthouse, yeah, I probably have
I haven't
footage of
gotten it
it.
once on my PMC.
That's crazy. Have you
Yeah.
wore like a fleece or something every time, or
I mean, I always wear the same stuff. Like I've been wearing I've been wearing just a freaking
I don't think
Death
just a
Shadow.
balaclava will do. Yeah, that will not do it. That should
That's what
hit
I've
you
been
with
wearing.
frostbite every time. I wonder if you're bugged. You should be draining
Well,
health.
like I said, I have got it, but it's just like as
It
long as
ticks if you stay out in the cold and you just walk and run a raid normally, whether scav or
Mhm.
PMC, every single raid I have been in, I have lost health if I had
Mm.
frostbite.
Yeah,
Like it's it's
maybe I
it's
am bugged.
substantial. Like
Well,
it's
like I said, I
enough
have had
to
it happen,
like
and it is
I've
substantial.
died on
Like
my
it is.
scav
Like
from it. Yeah, yeah,
I've
because I couldn't
almost died
get
on my scav
anywhere.
from it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've almost died on my scav from it.
that's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, the frostbite shit's no joke. And I do think that the gimp suit mask is a bit egregious, like you said. I fully agree with that. Uh I don't think that they went about it and just said, "Throw it in, it's fine. We'll do something later." I think that there's obviously something planned.
Yeah.
Is it an unfair advantage at the moment? Sure. The major disadvantage or advantage? I don't know. And it's if maybe I'm bugged. Maybe I'm getting drained faster than I'm supposed to be. I don't know. You know what I mean? Um, maybe there's something we're missing. I don't know, but it it
Yeah.
just seems weird. It seems weird, especially if you're going to be like, oh well, next month this will be in. When next month? End of end of January, early January. What are we looking at? Because if it's just a week of me having the GIMP mask and nobody else having the GIMP mask, and the only way they can get it is through the flea market at level 35 or 40 or whatever, and or like if players die with it, you know, that's not that bad. But if it's like a full 20, 30 days, it's kind of shitty. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's one of
Yeah.
those things. I think short term, it's not great, but long term, I think
You
it'll
would
be fine.
you would think if they're going to put it in the game, like in the main game for free, then it's going to be during the event,
Right.
like not
That's
the
when it makes
icebreaker, but
sense. The
the
holiday
one that
event.
we're
Yeah.
getting ready to get right now.
Yeah.
What's it called? Call it something,
Coliata,
something like that.
Colvilata,
But you would think it would
Colavilata,
be
something.
in all that stuff. Like
Coltoon? I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's when it's coming, and I would assume it's very soon. Probably Jan 1st to like within that first week. I would imagine makes sense in
Yeah,
my
yeah.
head.
Should be very very soon.
That way we get a decent amount of time towards the event. Yeah, we'll see, right? Yeah, I don't know. The Gimp mask is cool though. I think it's funny to wear in raid because it's a Gimp mask, and plus it gives me the bonus of not getting cold, so I can wear my thick helmet setups and stuff like that, like the Cayman and everything else. Um, let's see. Lost where we were at. Big icebreaker event plus
Uh,
large quest
yeah,
line. New storyline quests. Pighead and Lady of Hearts. Um,
yeah,
Pretty excited to see what comes with those. I still have a lot of story progression to do. I've been focused on like just getting
yeah. Oh,
Shooterborn, test drive, trying to get through all those tasks, and then I'll start focusing on the story progression stuff. But
wanted to tell you this. This is just information that I learned. You didn't have to upgrade your Intel Center for the next step. You just had to go visit Prapor
oh,
with the
that
case.
makes sense. And then tell him no, I'm not giving
Yeah,
it to him, or decide to
yeah.
keep it.
Basically, he gives you like three choices. And then the bad thing though is you lose all your rep with him. He goes back down to level 1. I won't say anything else because it's story related. I don't want to,
Yeah, I don't want to
but
spoil. You can tell me after.
that stuff can get fixed and it will. So it's like it's only temporary. I
Okay,
don't know how long. I'm still level 1 with him right now, which kind
you
of sucks,
chose
but
to not give him the case.
I chose not to give him the case.
Okay, we'll talk more about decisions after
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
session, after this episode. But
But
yeah,
this was after I had already upgraded my Intel.
Intel Center.
I
Yeah,
got it. I got all that done and got it all upgraded. And then I was like, okay, still nothing's happening. I was like, I'm just gonna go see him. And sure enough, when I went and seen him, everything started working.
no, and that makes perfect sense, right? Like it just
Yeah,
does.
yeah,
You kind of need to go tell the guy you're not giving him the case.
yeah.
Because I kept checking too. I was like, Kerman, why aren't you hitting me up, dude? Like, what's going on? Yeah, okay, cool, perfect. Let's see. Next Halloween, we know we have planned some large Halloween event, zombie related, all that good stuff. They said they've been really trying to tune those things in and make it something very special. We'll have to wait and see
Yeah.
on that one. In-game
They
events
talked of
and
an
news.
improved zombie event,
Yeah,
improved from
yeah,
last time.
yeah. This is a really cool thing happening too. In-game events and news notifications in game.
Yeah.
Whether that be through a cell phone, a radio, newsletters, board like bulletin style boards, who knows? I'm excited either way. Just to see like, oh,
Yeah.
events are going down, like maybe there's bounties being added now, like, oh, this guy needs to die, like this boss, or hey, maybe they pick a random player out of each raid and they're like, this is your bounty, like who knows? It could be pretty limitless. Like when you start adding
Yeah.
in-game newsletter style stuff to where it's like we can tell you on the fly that this is happening, this is happening, this is taking place, this raid specifically, you're looking for this item. You bring this to me from Prapor and you get something. Like who knows? Who knows? It could go far. It really could. Think about this, right? You load in raid. We'll say customs. Pretty common map. You go in on customs. You head to fortress or I don't know, construction site, somewhere in construction site. And you walk up and there's this billboard. On that billboard, there's a dog tag name on it. And it says, in search of dead or alive, like we need this man's dog tag. And it's just a random person in that lobby. Like I don't know if the capabilities of that. I don't know if that's something they could actually do. I imagine yes, just based off of like what other games have done. Like oh, this person's got a bounty on their head. Let's go get them. I don't see why that would be an issue. That is something they could potentially do with in-game event like notifications and things like that. Prapper could be asking for specific things. Hey, the goons need to die. This needs to happen. Like it's literally limitless when they start doing stuff like that, and that is very cool to see coming.
I took this a totally different way than you did. I took this
Oh,
as them saying, like, instead of having to go to social media to get updates on, like, the game and the events and all that, it's just gonna be, like, in the game, you get all that. Like,
yeah, that is an option too, right? And that's
that
probably the more
yeah,
realistic
that
option. I
that's
was
what I thought they meant, but I don't know. I don't know.
I think that's what they mean. I think that makes more sense. My brain just went somewhere
Okay.
completely different with it.
I
I
wasn't
mean,
sure. I was like,
I
"Okay,
read in game.
maybe."
Well, I'm also just reading off of your note, right? It just says in-game events and news notifications in the game, so I just
Yeah,
assumed
yeah,
like
yeah.
in raid potentially, which
No,
that
yeah,
is an
well,
option
no
down the road too, because it is something that games do and can do, and if
right.
BSG wanted to, they could
Yeah,
add a
it could
system
be.
to like that, I suppose, or
It could be. I
well,
don't remember
I
exactly
doubt
how
it.
he said it, so
I doubt it. I doubt that's what they're doing. I would say it's probably more like here's a news notification tab, and this is where your events are posted. This is where all the instead of having to go to Twitter or whatever, right?
well, the only reason I thought that because a bunch of people still complain, like, "I don't know what's going on unless I'm on Twitter," or "You only let people on Twitter know when an event starts or when a patch happens or what the patch notes are." It's like, now if
Well,
you could just put everything in the game, it would be a lot better.
it was a good outlet when the player count was so much lower. When there was 200,000 players online, and of those 200,000, between Landmark, Aqua, fucking Pestily, I'm drawing a blank on every Tarkov creator right now. Stankrat, Peanut, anybody and everybody that Airwing Marine, these guys that make content, us even, we would post like, hey, this is the boss that's active for this week. Hey, this is what's happening. Hey, the event starts this day. Hey, this is happening tomorrow. When that was such a good way to get all the news and information across the entire player base, when, the entire player base could be found on 4 different Twitch channels, right? Like, so it worked then, but with 2.8 million players, even with a million players, not everybody is willing to go search this information out. And a lot of new players, they don't even know about the resources available to them, like the wiki and Tarkov.Community and stuff like that, because they don't know about Tarkov TV and they don't know about your Twitter and all these personal things that players have found over time. So
Yeah, a ton of people don't use Twitter, a ton of people just don't use social media, so it's like,
yeah,
if you don't use Twitter, then there's a lot of information you miss out on.
for sure. So that's a good thing. I'd like to see both ways. My idea that I just had, I think that would be really fun, really cool. You could have, and it doesn't have to be like, oh, this specific player in your raid needs to die, right? It could be, hey, kill 10 scavs, maybe kill the boss, do something like that. Like, here's your reward for it. If you do it, turn it to prepper or something, instead of having like a task for it, it's like a hidden thing. I don't know. They could do
Yeah,
something
like
like
on the
that.
fly, like
I
missions and
don't
stuff. Yeah, that could be cool.
I don't think that's what's happening. Now that you said it the way you said it, I was like, oh, wait, that makes way more sense. That seems like what they want to actually do. Just a tab that says, here's what's happening in the world of Tarkov. Here's your event. Yeah, that's way more simple. Um, I would like to see both, though. Not gonna lie. After having the idea, I'm like, I kind of like it. But yeah, it's most likely, almost guaranteed, your thought process is correct there. Moving into quarter 2, we have seasonal progression, a seasonal system specifically only for PvP, battle pass style progression with unique rewards, 2 wipes per year, perks and debuff system, less secure container, more perks, something akin to Project Zomboid. Or ish, right? Adjacent. So, seasonal
Yeah.
progression, seasonal systems, only available in PvP.
Yeah,
How do you
that's
feel about
one
that?
thing that wasn't known amongst everybody,
Yeah.
including myself, was, yeah, the seasonal characters are only gonna be PvP. Um, I get it. it makes sense because it's like on PVE, you already have the option to not wipe,
Right.
so it's like you're not really uh they would have to force you to wipe because these characters wipe. So it's like he would have to go back on his word and make PVE characters wipe these.
Dude, if he decided to even say like, "Hey, your PVE main character slot will not change, but we're adding a wipeable PVE," people would lose their mind.
Yeah, they would still be like, "Oh, you said I could keep why can't I keep my seasonal character
Yeah,
too?" You know what I mean?
exactly.
So, I think that's the main reason why he's like, "You know what? Like,
PvP only.
PvE is gonna be the place you go where you
You
just
just
have a
chill.
permanent character."
Yeah.
Yeah, and anything to do with wipes or, multiple characters is just gonna be, PvP, which, like I said, kinda makes sense.
Well, and it does. Even if they add a dumbed down prestige system to PvE, um, I think only a handful of players are even going to be willing to prestige and stuff like that because they like the idea of keeping all their stuff. They don't want to restart. They don't want to do the tasks again for whatever reason. There's just
Yeah.
players that like having their things, and I get it. I do. I do understand it. I also don't understand it, right? Like it's a 50-50 for that. Like I understand ideas behind it. Like, oh, I earned all this. I want to keep it. I worked for this. It's mine. But Tarkov has taught me, no, those things aren't yours. I borrowed them, and they want it back. So let's go get it
From
again.
from the
It's
people
rent to
I've
own, and you only pay
heard
for the first 3
from
months.
yeah. From
It's
the people
Tarkov.
I've heard from, it seems mostly like it all depends on how much time they have to play the game. The people who have very limited time to play the game do not wipe their characters, do not want to give up their stuff. People who got a ton of time to play seem way more open to, actually prestiging in PvE.
Right. What's
They're
a
cool
couple
with it.
thousand
They
hours?
want to do it. Yeah. And it's like
What's
they want to do the challenge over it. But, people who only have 1 or 2 days a week to even play, it's like they
exactly?
do not wanna wipe their stuff, and they don't wanna be forced to, so, I can see quite a few people actually, doing the whatever they end up I know it's supposed to be like a different version of Prestige, but whatever they end up doing, I could see quite a few people doing it.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. But like, I think the seasonal system, if it goes the way they've been talking about it, will progress too fast and wipe too frequently for PVE players to want to even be in part of it. Um,
Yeah, probably.
6 months is not a lot of time, especially like you said, when you're on a
Well,
limited play schedule. You're not going to be able to get the
yeah, we're going
progression
back
done. You're not going to be able to finish everything. It's things are going to change too rapidly.
we're going back to normal Tarkov because that's what we had all before 1.0 was we got 2 wipes per year, so we got 2 resets per year, and that's basically what we're going back to. Um, the coolest thing is the fact that we get to choose the perks and the debuffs. It's like, do I want to play this seasonal character with no secure container? Well, then I get this buff, this buff, this buff, or
Yeah,
this perk, this
bonus
perk,
raid
this perk. You know what I
XP,
mean?
and
Yeah,
maybe you
yeah,
get
it's pretty cool.
additional strength and stamina. Who knows?
And then at the end of the season, all that stuff gets transferred to your main character, or you can decide what to
Just let it
transfer to your
go.
main
Yeah,
character.
yeah.
Yeah,
Which I think is cool. I think that's something that like Diablo and Path of Exile, all these games that action RPG style stuff already kind of do. You have a stash space for all those seasonal rewards that you got. Maybe not every single item that you gained, but like the specific event related stuff, the seasonal related stuff, any accolades from the season, any maybe permanent rewards like Mr. Kerman or the hideout cat thing, the figurine, whatever it was, stuff like that. Those kind of things will transfer over. I don't think it'll let you just say like, oh well, let me send these 600 Bitcoin over and these specific things. I think it'll be more just seasonal progression rewards and things like that. That because if,
yeah,
if they start letting you transfer too much over at once, you're just going to have the same problem that we're having with drops right now. I have too much stuff. I have my entire stash full of stuff. I have the maximum amount of stash space possible, Unheard Edition plus all 56 lines, and I'm out of space. So if every season, every 6 months, I can just transfer a shit ton of stuff over, I don't think that's going to be the case. That's unrealistic. A handful of single slot items and maybe a couple 2 to 4 slot items that I can hold on to and remember things for and like stash around in my hideout. or in my stash, or, yeah, in my hideout. Like that's cool. That's really cool. I think that's great. Um, we did just mention a couple things that I don't want to, ignore. And you said that we would be able to do things like buffs and debuffs leading into the seasons. So not only could you choose to potentially give yourself some buffs, but you're gonna have to. It sounds like if you want this buff, you're gonna have to take this debuff. You know, I don't know exactly what all the debuffs or buffs are going to be. We don't know a lot about it. He only went over a couple things. Um, but it sounds like a pretty cool system to really mix up the way we play Tarkov and really add that risk and
Yeah,
reward back into the feel of Tarkov. Because that is
yeah.
something that over time, I won't say faded. Well, I will say faded. Has faded a little bit. The risk reward is still there. It's still a big part of Tarkov for me, but the risk doesn't feel as much of a risk anymore. Those level 6
Well, I
plates don't feel as risky to lose because I know I can get more. But if there's a way I can add the risk reward back, like, oh, I don't have a secure container anymore. Those lead X's matter now. Like I can't let that go. I have to hold on. These keys are important. This docs case is important. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Phew, game changer.
I think a lot of it is, people who have been asking for a, second, character that they can run hardcore on, so they don't have to
Yeah.
always wipe their main account, and I think
Right.
that's what this is gonna give you the ability. If you wanna do a hardcore rule set, you can basically debuff yourself enough to where you're playing hardcore. Um,
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah. I
have
think
to
so.
accept the perks. I think there's a trade-off if you want it, but I think
Right.
you can just debuff yourself completely
No
and not
traders,
accept
no
any of
flea
the perks.
market, no
Yeah,
insurance, no secure
yeah,
container. All those
yeah,
things that
all
we
that
were
stuff.
looking at as hardcore options, you can just rail yourself into the dirt with. Empty stash off start, no money off
Well, and
start, like
a
all
lot of
kinds of
people was
stuff.
like, they were already saying, "Well, you could always do that." Well, the
Yeah, but
biggest thing is now you don't have to reset your main character to do it. Now
exactly.
you have a separate character, so you can continue playing your normal character, and at the same time, without logging into a whole different account, you
Right.
can actually do hardcore right alongside it. So,
And I wouldn't be surprised to see multiple character slots within a season. Like you get your permanent character, you get your seasonal character, and then maybe even an additional seasonal character. Maybe one of my seasonal characters, I want to just try to get done. I want to get the seasonal rewards. Maybe on an additional seasonal character, um, I want to go as hard as I possibly can. Right, like because I faintly remember him mentioning, uh, seasonal characters, like multiple slots potentially. I may be wrong, but that would be cool. That's something
yeah,
that
I don't know.
action RPGs do really well. They let you have not as many, but a handful of characters within a season. That way you can do different challenges. You can play them different ways. You can do different things, So it's an option. It would be cool to see because then you just
Maybe,
have a little bit more freedom to do what you want to do within the seasons.
the only reason I think that might not be the case is because it's already extremely tough on their servers to let every person have a second account, he said.
Right, right,
That's always been the reason why. He said it's just it just costs so much for, one more person, it's not a big deal, but for every single person to have another, character, like, that's twice the bandwidth, twice the storage space, twice everything. Um, so I just don't know. I don't know if they'd be willing to
yeah.
go 3
I mean,
times or 4
no,
times. I
that's
don't know if they're capable, you know what I mean? I don't know if
That's part
the
of it too.
servers can do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that could be a big part of it too. And like you said, that is also expensive.
yeah,
Double up your cost on everything per player. And when you
yeah,
have the largest player base you've ever had, a mill or so
yeah,
people, if not more, concurrent, like that's substantial. It's not going to be cheap. Um, we did mention this a second ago too. A planned prestige system for PVE next year. Uh, Probably not as rewarding as the PvP. Oh, I guarantee you, not as rewarding as the PvP prestige system. Probably a little more dumbed down. Probably the same restrictions. You're gonna have to complete the same, set of standards and tasks and things. But I would just say the rewards are gonna be a little less. I would expect,
yeah.
but a prestige
But a
system for
good
PVE
addition.
nonetheless. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
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 that's
good
something
addition.
that's
People have
something that would
been
drive me
asking
back
for
to
it.
PvE potentially, Maybe
Well,
maybe
it's
not
like
like
tons of
full
people have
time,
been
but I would play
asking.
it.
Yeah, tons of people have been asking, and it's like now they find that they got turned down for a longest time. Nikki just like, no, I'm not giving PVE any prestige. That's PvP only. Well, the fact that he changed his mind just lets you know, never say never. Even if something he's already said you're never going to get, Well, it looks like you might
Well,
get.
there has been, we've seen the community asking for PvE prestige. We've seen creators asking for PvE prestige. I have also had the luxury of talking to emissaries, Sherpas, and some other people in the community. I don't want to put any titles to it under the bus or anything, but some people, and they have been fighting tooth and nail to get PvE prestige. There are more
Yeah.
people closer to this problem than you think that really, really want this to happen. So I think that you guys have had a lot of pull going your way on that. That's something I want too. But when they said seasonal PvP characters, I was like, oh, I don't have to go to PvE anymore. If I want to prestige, I can do it on my main character. If I want to do anything, I can do it on my permanent, and I can play seasonal just to have fun. Cool. I'm fine with that.
Well,
But PvE prestige for the PvE gamers, that's awesome. I am so glad that's coming.
yeah, you got to expect PVE to start getting, as close to the same as PvP as possible, considering the player base is pretty 50-50. Like, there's a lot of people plays PvE, so they got to cater to them too.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. That's such a huge part of the player base.
Yeah. I don't know exact numbers, but last time I did see numbers, it was 50-50. It was 50% on PvE, 50% on PvP.
Yeah, I think that still holds pretty true, if not skewed a little more towards PvE from the way, the community talks. But I think it's probably still pretty close to 50-50. Um, it's awesome. It's great. It's, more things for the PvE side is not a bad thing, especially when you consider the fact that we're gonna have modding eventually. So, all these things just help kind of lean and set up towards that too. Moving on, because we are cruising in at 2 hours already, and we got quite a few things to go through still. I'm getting a little nervous about it because I am on a major time crunch today. But let's go and take another look at two things. We're going to look at the new map, End of Line, and we're going to look at the teaser trailer, or the tease look at for Icebreaker. We're going to go ahead and jump into that right now. Here is Icebreaker, work in progress. First real look at it. Ship is massive.
Yeah.
It's like completely traversable around the exterior too, which I didn't expect, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was going to let us walk up and go in, or if we just go spawn inside. But
Oh my goodness, this looks awesome.
yeah, yeah,
Dude, this is cool.
it's cool. You got your little executive
Yeah.
rooms, and you got your there's going to be so many different variations on each room from room to room. It's going
Right?
to be just a hotel room, or just any kind of building that has a lot of people in it. You're going to
Yeah.
offer different kinds of things for people to do. You're going to have recreational rooms. You're going to have libraries. You're going to have kitchens, cafeterias. Then you're going to have your main work rooms. You're going to have control areas, engine
Yeah.
rooms. You're going to
Yeah.
it's going to have such a variety.
And a poop deck.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
now you got a place you can poop in Tarkov. So let's assume, right, that all of these windows have doors on the other side that we can traverse into. And this is just the front face of the ship, and that's specifically only looking at the top portion of the ship. That is such a massive chunk of space to traverse through and try to, navigate around and find hidden this and that, and excuse me, and this door, and unlock this key and do this thing and fight these enemies here. And we don't know what's taking place on Icebreaker. We just know it is absolutely huge. On top of the, the top portion of the Icebreaker map that we can see in this image here, we have the entire deck that we can traverse on, more than expected. And then we also have, assumedly, the underground, the hull of the ship that is somewhat traversable, if not entirely traversable. This place is huge, and I don't think we can overstate that enough. Absolutely massive. This is a giant ship. And I can't wait to just start exploring it. And I hope that there's a long enough raid timer to really let you sink your teeth into it. I hope you don't have to
He did
rush.
say
to get from
He
place
did
to
say it
place to
was gonna be
place.
story linked. Um,
Okay.
so I don't know if that means we only get to go to it one time or if it's something like we get to visit multiple times. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm unsure as well. Next is I think I found it. Okay. We have End of Line. This is a dungeon style single player driven possible connection to the D2 bunker um map. So potentially underneath a reserve, tied to reserve in some way. Maybe not like maybe you have to go into D2 to get to this dungeon style place like you do Shoreline to get to Labyrinth. Um excuse me.
Yeah, and that's all just, guesses. Like might not have anything
Yeah.
at all to
Yeah.
do with D2. Yeah, that's
The
that's all personal guesses.
Yeah, the only reason that those guesses are even being thrown out is the architectural design of everything, the coloring, the shape of it all. This pillar looks a hell of a lot like D2 pillars. You know what I mean? Just the light down low and all these kind of things that look similar. Um, but this is end of line, and there is a major, like Adam said earlier, when we were kind of trying to figure out what pictures were what with the arena map pictures. This has a horror theme to it, and a lot of other stuff going on. This is underground in some way, shape, or form. This has a lot of, D2 style uh old Russian feel to it, Soviet era, war torn, just
Yeah.
pure concrete and steel. There's a whole
Yeah,
train system
Soviet
under
bunker
here.
is a
Yeah.
good way, yeah.
The Soviet pirate will explore the Soviet bunker. But there's a whole train system down here, at least a rail system. You got this massive like tunnel system that you can drive cars in and out of. This reminds me of in the story stuff with the lore, when you read through the books, Dennis finds these depots, right? That have all these trucks and things in them, and they're cleverly disguised as this, that, or the other. I'm kind of tying it to D2 just based off of like lore purposes. This looks like D2 to it. Like there's so much that kind of fits with D2. And when Dennis
Yeah.
kind of explains like how the BP or the depot, the task BP depot, how the depot is kind of hidden and it's got like all this stuff, like it's set up like it's this base around it, like it's like a can't remember the words he used, like a fueling station, a repair station type situation. It kind of sounded reserve esque, and after seeing these pictures and kind of tie in just like fragments from my brain and the tinfoil hat type stuff, it just I think we're gonna go to reserve and transition from D2 or somewhere near D2 into this bunker style dungeon. This continuation of D2 even. I mean, it just feels very spot on with reserve in my opinion.
Well, I was thinking D2 also, but then I also got to thinking, I was like, maybe all underground bunkers just look similar. And maybe that's
Well,
why everything looks like D2 is because that's the first underground bunker we've had. So
right.
maybe all of them just look similar and really there's no connection. But
Well,
then again,
again,
you would
based
think
off
they're going to connect all of them.
right, well, based off the lore, right? All these
Yeah.
tunnel
Yeah.
systems around Tarkov are all connected, built by the same company, doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Some of them are
Including all those
depots.
doors on other maps.
Exactly.
They should all,
Mountain
yeah, they
stash,
should all be,
bunkers. Ooh,
yeah, should all be the same tunnel system.
could this be Mountain Stash?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think there's no way to know. I think it could be any of them because I think they're all similar. I think like that right there reminds me the most of Reserve. Like
Yeah.
just because you got the army trucks. The only thing I don't uh link with Reserve is the rail station, the railroad, because on Reserve the railroad does
We
not
see
go
where the
underground.
railroad goes.
Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
right. So
Is
who
there any
knows?
map that has a rail system we don't see where it ends up?
I was thinking that too, and I don't know.
Woods, but it runs
But then
away
again,
from the stash.
the railroad, it could just be a underground only railroad. It might not even go to the surface. Like
That's
that might just
entirely
be all
true. If these are
yeah,
all connected tunnels, that rail system is probably just to go from tunnel or from depot to depot
right.
or from building to building, whatever have you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Terror Group built a bunch of bunkers, an entire uh underground connected tunnel system all under Tarkov. Shoreline, woods, interchange, streets, town, lighthouse, customs, ground zero, all of it. Labs. Well, labs is underground. But this is all just one big connected tunnel system. So, of course, it all kind of looks the same. Of course, it's completely, within the realm of possibility to see these rocks and say, "Oh, this is just like the rocks at Labyrinth," right? Well, yeah, that's probably because Labyrinth is on the other side of that wall because this is connected to Shoreline, or you know what I mean? It could very
Right.
easily be that. Not saying that is what the case is, just that it could be that without any hesitation at all. Um, because we haven't seen anything about it. We don't know much about it, and we don't know how far in depth they're going to take this tunnel system. We've seen Labyrinth. They said they want to continue this system. And it kind of all just flows with the story and the lore and everything else. So we'll wait and see exactly, sure. But I don't think it's wrong to speculate that this is that, right? Take a drink.
No, no, because we've known that we've had enough hints that we're going to have more of these underground areas opened up as time goes. Like we've been told that several times.
Yeah.
Even in some of the quests that we get, like they talk about it, and then obviously the lore talks about it. Like there's definitely hints out there that there's quite a few or there's a lot of underground travels throughout like each faction. Like they all use the underground. Um so yeah, like it's
Well,
definitely something that's we're going to see more of, I think.
yeah, I mean, we can even, kind of tie the cultists in on that just because
Yeah,
we
yeah.
know that they use the tunnel system to travel, and that's why we never see them throughout the day. We never see them in other places other than their, a couple spots they like to set up at. And that's because they use this
Well,
underground tunnel system to traverse all of
and
Tarkov, supposedly.
And that's why you see their writings all over the walls and the doors, and like some of the closed doors right now. If you go like down the steps, like on the mountain bunker, it leads to a cultist circle. There's a cultist circle
Yeah,
right there with
exactly.
like candles, and like it's always had like cultist things near like the entrances. So
Yeah. You know, lot to unpack there. There's a lot going on that we still don't have any idea. Well, we have some idea about, but we don't know, where it's actually going to turn towards, what it's going to turn
yeah,
into.
we got
Um,
more hints than we've ever had, but we don't know an exact
yeah,
yet.
once again, BSG are masters at feeding us just enough to start speculating and have us, minds running wild and trying to tie this chunk of lore to this and that and this and that. And who knows what it's actually going to turn out to be. I think the whole underground tunnel system being connected and that all, like, that's fact. And I think that it's safe to assume that this is part of that. But we'll see. We will see. Moving on. God, dude. I think I'm getting sick. Cassie has been sick for the last few days, and my throat's been killing me. I've been coughing a lot. My stomach's a little funky. Anyways, we
Yeah,
have
I'm right there
a
with you.
summer content drop planned. We'll go into that a little more in another episode, just because we are tight for time. But there is a lot going on for the summer content drop. Um, what would you say the key takeaways from the summer content drop that he said were? You could summarize it.
I mean, I think basically, like the new UI, basically we're gonna have new ways to get. I don't know how to describe it. We're gonna have radioactive zones. That's basically one way to say it.
So one of
Um,
yeah, actually, we have a video. I'm sorry, I'm stupid. We have a small video to show you guys some of the ideas behind what they want to do with that. As soon as I find it, I will show it to you. Here it is. So we have plans for dynamic winds. So this is just one idea, right? Let me turn the display capture on. Certain areas can have things blow through, maybe obstruct your view, cause some issues, dynamic winds and things like that. Not only with that, I do believe this is planned for summer. I don't think I'm out of line on that one. But the radioactive UI is going to get used. So that means that we're going to have radioactive zones, like Adam said. You never know, walking through a map and it's irradiated. If you don't have a gas mask or whatever, you can't go in there. If you don't have the right stems, you can't go in there. And I think they'd always talked about like having good loot or maybe some high tier stuff stashed away somewhere within the radiation zones, kind of an incentive to go into that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And
kinda
then
like Daisy does, you know?
yeah, exactly like Daisy does. And I think that we're also getting the animated ragdoll effects as well as
Yeah.
um the planned unconscious state. I don't know. He didn't go into detail on that, right?
Yeah, basically, he said getting the ragdolls done are essential to adding, uh, things like unconscious state and dragon bodies, things like that. He said to do any of those, they have to get the ragdoll system done first, so
Yeah. Yeah, we don't know to what degree the unconscious state would be, if it's gonna be fully realized or not, if we're gonna be able to just drag dead bodies out of harm's way so we can loot them, or if we're actually gonna be able to, like, take an unconscious teammate, or maybe, like, you can knock somebody out. I don't know. I don't know how they plan to do it. We don't have any information on
yeah,
it.
and drag you all the way to extract and get you out of the
Right.
raid, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like, what the hell? Animated ragdolls, though, that's the big focus of that idea for the summer content drop, I think. And then the environmental interactions, shoot locks, the car horns, all that kind of stuff should be coming in with the summer content drop. By end of Q3, we have the Linux migration planned, which is pretty big for Linux users. I don't, so I don't know the struggles. And then moving
Big
into
for
Q,
Linux users and big for Steam users because if you're gonna run a Steam machine, all Steam machines are, on Steam OS, which is Linux.
that's
So,
true.
that includes, like, the Steam Deck or the new Steam consoles that are coming out. All that is gonna need Linux support if you're gonna be able to play Tarkov. So,
Which
Tarkov has to get
puts
Linux going.
puts us one step closer to Tarkov on Game Boy.
Oh, and another thing too, uh, there's 2 different things going on here. The Linux migration that they talk about is their servers. Right now, their servers are on Windows PCs. They're migrating their servers over to Linux PCs, which is just better optimization for running massively multiplayer servers. It just gives them more tools, gives them better control, and just performance wise, it's better for the game overall. But not only does it do that, but it also enables Tarkov itself as a game to be able to be
Run
run
on
on
Linux.
Linux.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a win-win for everything. So
Yeah. Yeah, just another step in the optimization plan too, so it's good.
yeah,
Moving into Q4, we have the Scav Life DLC. We'll have a separate Scav profile, Scav tasks, Scav reps, Scav s- missions, tasks, and all this other stuff. You'll be able to get to a point where you can go up and interact with bosses and hang out with them and like utilize them.
you
Some
can be a
limited
boss. Yeah, you can be.
control of those bosses, and then you can be a boss and have some limited control of the guards and like tell them where to be,
Yeah,
what to do, and kind of like probably through voice lines and stuff like that, like we have now for like telling a scav to come help me and
yeah.
stuff like
Follow
that.
me. Let's
Yeah,
go attack.
stuff like that.
Um,
So that'll be really fun. And then on top of that, we have a like a hub they were talking about, kind of like
yeah,
a meeting point
social
for you and
hub.
your homies. Yeah,
Yeah, or you can meet up with your fellow players and, like, play cards, play, like, pool,
drink,
like, just
cards,
do little mini
pool,
games.
darts, stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
which is really awesome.
uh, uh,
And then you get
scavs.
a scav hideout.
Yeah, yeah. So that'll
So basically,
be its own
yeah, it
game,
just you're
right?
yeah, yeah, it's basically gonna be another PMC, but instead of a PMC, you're a scav. Um,
And you can
so
be a
you'll be
boss.
playing the game as a scav and, like, basically just a whole new game,
Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
which
I
would be
think it'll be
cool.
cool to be able to play as a scav and have goals like, "Oh, I wanna
Absolutely.
run Rashala's gas station," you know what I mean? Like, I wanna be that. I wanna be sniper
Well,
scav. Like, you can just kinda,
the
like, do what
fact
you
that
wanna
we're
do.
getting quest and hideout and a
Yeah.
hub and like all that stuff, I still hope and pray that you can become a cultist. Like that's my main thing is I want to become an actual cultist. So
Yeah, I don't see
I'm
why they
hoping
would
it lets
gatekeep
you.
that. I don't think that's, like, where they would stop the train, right? Like, that seems weird to
Well,
be
it's
like,
like
"No, that's too far." Y
certain enemies are labeled scav, like scav bosses or scav guards, and then certain other ones are not, and cultists are not listed as
That's
scav
true. They're
cultists. So
listed as
that's the only
second.
thing I'm like, they might not be a cultist, or they might not be a scav at all. So
Well,
that's the
maybe
only reason I'm
that's
like
you can
curious.
become an acolyte even. Like, let me follow the cultists. Let me get involved with them boys, you know? Something.
Well, it's like cultists also are like kill everybody on sight. So it's like they're not really friendly with anybody except Lightkeeper.
Well,
So
game-wise, yes. Lore-wise, no.
yeah,
So,
lore
there
wise,
is
yeah, that's
room.
true.
There is room.
Yeah, that's
Not
true.
saying
That's
it's
true.
what they would do, but there is room. It's an option. I don't
But
like
it's
to
like
rule that
lore
one
wise,
out entirely.
yeah, they're definitely there's room for them to implement like ways
Yeah,
for that to work.
from what we know, lore-wise, they've interacted with, scav bosses. They've interacted with PMCs. They've
PMCs,
interacted with,
yeah,
like, you know, uh,
everybody.
officers inside of the military camps, like the USEC camps, the bear camps, whatever. They've interacted with those guys. So, like, yeah, they're involved. So maybe we would have some interaction with them. Maybe that's like the end game, like unlocking Lightkeeper for a PMC. It's like you unlock Lightkeeper, but you're unlocking Zerachi or something. I don't know.
Hey, that's
Uh,
possible.
yeah, it could be really cool. I feel like we're missing something. Like we forgot. Oh, I did skip something. This might piss some people off. I don't know how I feel about it. And I don't know outside of what we've been
Oh,
told how this is
yeah.
going to work entirely. I don't think we're going to have anything too crazy, but drone gameplay. Supposedly for supply drops and like grenade deliveries and things like that. Um, I don't know how I feel about it. I think it could be if they do it correctly. Drones are loud,
I'm cool
right?
with it. Yeah, I'm cool with it. They'll be loud.
Can
They'll
we
be
shoot the drone
slow.
down?
Yeah, we'll be
And
able to shoot the
yeah,
drone down. It's
yeah,
it's it's gonna be just like the RPGs or just like the tripwires. Like it's gonna be just like those where everyone's gonna freak out and then everyone's gonna realize once they're in the game that you hardly
it's
ever see
not.
them.
Yeah,
I
you rarely
don't
see
think
them. They're
I've
not
died
that
to a
good.
tripwire ever.
I set
Um,
so many fucking tripwires, and I don't get tripwire kills like at all. Like, I don't think anybody's
well,
ever
out of my
stepped on one of my
8,000
tripwires.
hours in Tarkov, I've only died to tripwires when it's been AI setting them. I've never died
Yeah,
to like a
partisan.
PMC tripwire.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
haven't either.
partisan or down in the dungeon with
Yeah,
tequila,
yeah. The
tequila.
tequila ones. Yeah. And that's more just the chaos of, everything happening and you not catching a tripwire. Um,
But
yeah, I
I
think
think the
tripwires are
main
really fun
reason,
too, and I think they're balanced because, like you said, you just don't die to them. If anything, they're just a
well,
noise, like, it just tells me that somebody tripped it.
right, and you as long as you're using normal nades, it's like by the time you hear the wire trip, you have enough time to run away.
Yeah,
Now if you're using like, very
the
short fuse
F1
nades, yes, that
RDs, yeah,
yeah, that can be a problem. But I think the main reason that the drone, is even getting implemented, I think, is for the replay ability for, you wanna see a kill cam? Well, it's gonna be this drone that was flying over, it might
limited
show you,
footage, yeah.
yeah, like, at the end of raid, you can go over and watch your death, like, through a drone. So I think that's really the biggest reason why they're
Right.
putting them in game.
Yeah, I think that would be enough of a kill cam to justify too, like, just an overhead view to see a bigger scale breakdown on what's going on around me. If I
Yeah,
just see an overhead view from, like, 60, 50 feet up to where I can see my PMC and whoever I'm shooting with, you can just see, like, bullets firing back and forth and, like, get an idea of what's happening. I think that's enough. But they even talked about that a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, and they were like, "It's hard to make happen, because of the security threats that open up to that. You start allowing
yeah,
some sort of, in-raid camera, though we can't access it as an in-raid camera, cheaters could.
right.
They got to worry about things like, well, can they use this as a way to, essentially have walls or be able to see everything? What kind of bugs are going to get introduced as we try to do this? Like, there's a lot of security involved with making sure it gets implemented correctly. So if
And it
anything,
may never happen.
yeah, the kill
That's the it
cam
may never happen.
and the drones, right? Not just kill cam, but the
Yeah,
drones. So yeah, we'll,
yeah,
we'll wait and see. I do think it was cool that they hinted at it with the 1.0 trailer stuff. They were like, "Oh, look at this drone. Why would we even do that? Ha ha ha, silly us."
yeah.
Yeah, well they kind of showed their hand a little bit, right? Like they always do. We just don't catch it or realize it in the moment because we don't think about it that way. They showed the drone flying overhead doing something and they showed someone shooting it. So like you already got a lot of information about something that they hadn't even announced yet. We just didn't realize it.
Well, like
Um,
Nikita said on a lot of things, like they prototyped a lot of this stuff before. Like they've already tried
right.
it in game, and this is like version 5 or 6 by the time we see it. So,
Exactly.
like, who knows, where they're at on it.
Yeah, it is hard to tell. And again, these things they plan them out. They put restrictions in on them. They do as much as they can to balance it out. Nothing's entered the game, and like you said, a lot of people panic about it. Sure, like, oh no, they did this. This is breaking the game. They put RPGs in. It's going to ruin everything. And it's like, no, I haven't at all this wipe seen an RPG. And I can't think of the last time I got hit with an RPG, or you know what I mean. Like, I don't know if I've ever been blown up by an RPG at all. Outside of like doing it to myself or like standing behind somebody or somebody standing behind me and blowing me up or things like that, sure, but like in a PvP fight I've not had somebody pull out an RPG and shoot me with it. um
No,
I don't even,
and
like you
I've
said, the
heard.
tripwires aren't even an issue. Like that's just all these things that people panic about and worry about to like the most extreme circumstance is so far from typically what gets added. It's like it's not worth worrying about.
I might hear someone using it in raid, but very rarely do I actually see it.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Anything else this week to go over? I know that was like a
I
ridiculous
mean,
amount of stuff. I mean, we have
and and that's the thing. We could like go deeper on a lot of things, and there's probably a few other things, but that was a lot of stuff. And uh, anything we didn't get to this week, we can go
cover
over
it
it
next
next
week.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And there's stuff that like, the summer content drop. We don't know everything that they want to do yet. I assume throughout the months we'll get more and more information. That's something we'll come back and touch on as we know more about. Same for the PvE prestige or end of line or icebreaker. Any and all of these things, like they're really awesome. It's great to talk about them. I would love to go more in depth with it, but a lot of the stuff we're just still in the dark on. We can
yeah. This was a
speculate.
whole year's worth of updates in
Yeah,
one setting.
yeah,
So
pretty gnarly. Um, yeah, I think that's everything for the week. I mean, 2 hours and 18 minutes is a pretty
yeah,
substantially long episode for just me and you going over stuff that was talked about Tarkov over this yesterday and the day before. Typically, not this much information. I always love when we have it. It's like it feels. I don't know how to explain it. It feels new, obviously, because it is new, but it feels very rewarding, I guess. To just see it all coming together and knowing about it and then getting to see those milestones hit, and it's like, oh man, we're getting that much closer to like a better version of Tarkov. It's exciting. Um,
yeah,
and a lot of this stuff in here is some really good stuff. And I feel like there's a couple things we probably could have went more in depth on or just covered a little bit more about, like you said, but over time, all this stuff is still going to be getting implemented, so there's going to have its time in the spotlight. But yeah,
yeah.
is there
Yep,
anything is
I
there anything
agree.
else you want to add or mention or
Nope,
talk about?
I think that's it, man.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode of Talking Tarkov, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We're closing in on 1,000 subscribers, so it helps us out tremendously while keeping you up to date with everything we've got going on. Just be sure to click that bell icon so you never miss an upload. We'll catch you next week. See ya.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.